for him. What do you make of this guy?
Well, obviously, he's got a very poor record, and we showed.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be.
Our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. This memorial honors Mary's sinless heart, a symbol of her purity, love for God, and devotion to Jesus. The feast is an opportunity for Catholics to reflect on Mary's interior life and her virtues, especially.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different. Like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Magdalene Rose.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I'm Magdalene Rose at the Crusade Channel News Desk. Today's newscast is brought to you by Cooking with the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy, available for one low price at shop.mychurch.com. Here's what to listen to for this hour. Legislators in California voted to hold a special election this fall to let voters decide on the Democrats' plan to gerrymander the state's congressional map. Meanwhile, the Texas Senate is considering a House-passed Republican redistricting plan that could allow the party to gain as many as 5 congressional seats in the midterm elections. An appeals court threw out the New York civil fraud judgment against President Donald Trump that was set to cost Trump and his business more than $500 million. The panel of judges called the penalty excessive. New York Attorney General Letitia James said the state would appeal the decision. Trump greeted law enforcement officials and National Guard members in Washington. The administration house-touted arrests in the district, and 20 members of the Judge Advocate General Corps will join the U.S. Attorney General's office for the District of Columbia next week to help prosecute civilian crimes, 2 people familiar with the matter told NBC News. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters in Kiev that he wants an understanding of the protection allies are willing to give Ukraine within 7 to 10 days. The Trump administration said Thursday it is reviewing more than 55 million people who have valid U.S. visas for any violations that could lead to deportation, part of a growing crackdown on foreigners who are permitted to be in the United States. In a written answer to a question from the Associated Press, the State Department said all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting, with an eye toward any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the United States. Such information could be found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, he or she would be subject to deportation. Since President Donald Trump took office, his administration is focused on deporting migrants illegally here in the United States, as well as holders of student and visitor exchange visas. The State Department's new language suggests that the continual vetting process, which officials acknowledge is time-consuming, is far more widespread and could mean even those approved to be in the United States could abruptly see their permissions revoked. Russia targeted Ukraine overnight with 574 drones and 40 missiles, the Ukrainian Air Force said. Most of the weapons were intercepted by Ukraine's air defenses, but the massive assault was far from unusual, and officials said at least 1 person was killed and 15 injured. Our quote of the day: courageously follow the path of personal holiness and diligently nourish yourselves with the Word of God and the Eucharist. The holier you are, the more you can contribute to building up the Church and society. St. John Paul II. Coming up, our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site. New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We'll go fly.
Breaking news updates. Go. The Mike Church Show Band.
We'll go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1, lift off.
On August 4th, the Crusade Channel will launch Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And you'll see why everyone else is lost in space.
Our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. This memorial honors Mary's sinless heart, a symbol of her purity, love for God, and devotion to Jesus. The feast is an opportunity for Catholics to reflect on Mary's interior life and her virtues, especially her love for God and humanity. The devotion to the Immaculate Heart is a tradition within the Catholic Church, often associated with events like the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. An appeals court has thrown out a $500 million penalty that President Donald Trump was ordered to pay in a New York civil fraud trial last year. The judge had ordered Trump to pay the fee for massively inflating the value of the Trump Organization's properties in order to secure favorable loans. In the lengthy ruling on Thursday, judges on the New York Supreme Court's Appellate Division stated that while Trump was liable for fraud, the fine of nearly $500 million was excessive and probably violated constitutional protections against severe punishment. In the case, the judge had ordered Trump to pay $355 million, but with interest that grew to more than $500 million. While harm certainly occurred, it was not the cataclysmic harm that can justify nearly $500 million toward the state, wrote Judge Peter Moulton. In a post on his social media site Truth Social, Trump claimed the decision was a total victory. I greatly respect the fact that the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision. I was hurting business all throughout New York State, he said. It was a political witch hunt in a business sense, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. The New York Attorney General's office, which brought the case against Trump, also framed the decision as a win as it upheld Trump's fraud liability, and the judges did not throw out other penalties that were not financial. The office plans to appeal against a decision on the fine to the state's highest court, the Court of Appeals. In a statement, the Attorney General's office said the office affirmed the well-supported finding of the trial court. Donald Trump, his company, and 2 of his children are liable for fraud. It should not be lost to history, yet another court has ruled that the president violated the law and that our case has merit. You're listening to Crusade Channel News. I'm Magdalene Rose for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom. The Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of a demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah, but besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
So 3 down, 1 to go. 3 cases, Trump has won on appeal. 1 to go. Now that the injustices have been made just, the perpetrators of said injustice now need to be made just. What does that mean? Lock them up. Greetings to you, Crusaders. It's the Mike Church Show on a Friday. We are live asking the question of the day.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, you know, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
It's Repo.
Da-na-na-na.
It's Repo.
Yes, it is. A free phone Friday. They are charged with the task of telling us what it is we shall talk about here on the program. Telephone number to take me up on my kind, beneficent offer of the use of these radio airwaves on today, International Day of Fasting and Prayer, as called for by the Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV. It's a Marian feast day. It is the octave day of the feast of the Assumption of Our Lady. It's a big day today. Call in line telephone number 844-527-8723. 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address same as it ever has been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. And Crusader Stadium chat room is open for your Friday commentary at crusadechannel.com/chat. What a great Thursday night throwdown we had last night. If you missed it, then let me just say you missed it. The podcast will be available. There's video version as well. We had a great cast of characters and a great time talking about trucks. That American thing that is trucks. You know, I think I might play my buddy, my old deceased buddy, Rusty McHugh's My Truck song later today. I think everyone got a kick out of it and of just hearing 2 guys, one dude with an electric guitar, one guy with an acoustic guitar, just making kind of American poetry up and setting it to guitar music. It was a great night last night. You all will be able to vote for the throwdown winner in the Crusader Stadium chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Big day for El Presidente yesterday as appeals court in New York threw out that ridiculous $464 million judgment that Mautizia James had gotten against him. And, of course, what was her first reaction? The state of New York, this is not going to stop. We're going to appeal. You're going to lose. Appeal to where? The appeals court of New York is pretty much the highest authority. Unless you're going to go above the New York appeals court and go to the New York Supreme Court. Does the Supreme Court of New York want to get into, does it want to be remembered as the only Supreme Court in the land that heard an appeals case, an act of horrid miscarriage of justice, that heard a case against a seated president of the United States so that the judiciary of a state could be used to what? What are they going to do? uphold the judgment and tell the president if he doesn't pay, if he doesn't fork the money over, they're going to throw him in debtor's prison. This whole thing, at the end of this, there's so much on display today. Here, let's talk about not Superman, gruesome Gavin Newsom. The Democrats have determined that their candidate for 2028 has already been chosen. It is a super gay boy, gruesome Gavin Newsom. And that because he is the one that's standing up to Trump. Well, how come he keeps losing in court? He keeps standing up to Trump, and Trump's people or the courts keep telling him you're wrong. I agree with people that are on X.com are going like, dude, if you're going to keep mouthing off like this, then go ahead and secede. Because the rest of the United States doesn't want to continue hearing from you and hearing as though the state of California somehow is being relied upon now by the Democrat Party. Because, my friends, that's what's going on here. The Democrat Party and the evil powers and forces that be want to use the state of California as the weapon by which the attempt to undo the presidential election of 2024. That's what's going on here. They want to undo the election. They want to bring the Trump administration to a Russia type screeching halt and have it be spending all of its time rooting out enemies within and fighting for its very survival in life in federal courts. That's what they want. And they think that Newsomabad is going to bring it to them. What a great calling card that is, by the way, for middle of the road, middle class, these so-called undecided moderate voters. Oh yeah, let's vote for the people who every time they lose refuse to admit they lose. Let's put them in power. What do you think they're going to do with power when if they ever get it back? They're going to make it so they can't ever lose again. Because Church's maxim number 81, even when the Democrat Party loses, it never loses. So, just thought I would start out with that here today. We can all, I think, play a funeral dirge for Crackle Barrel. I follow these guys, and I've talked about this before. I have followed these guys, the category pirate dudes. Arr, mateys. Mike Churchill is a category pirate of morning drive, American-made, American manufactured talk radio, not AI. So these guys basically teach and preach business success, or success in anything, by dominating or starting a category and owning it. So let's just talk about this for a second. Did Cracker Barrel own a category? Were they category pirates? Arg, mateys. Yo, Cracker Barrel was the category pirates, mateys, of the Americana dining experience there, my lads. Cracker Barrel was the first to market with a American roadside country-themed, southern-themed family restaurant. Positioned exclusively, or almost exclusively, for people who were families primarily, or people that were in groups that were driving on the interstates. It's genius. You got every summer tens of millions of American families pour themselves into the Wagon Queen family truckster, whatever that may be, and they go out and take what's called a vacation. And they travel from, let's just say, Madisonville, Louisiana to Rock Hill, South Carolina. Somewhere along the way, and they get kids in the car, and are we there yet? Are we there yet? Mom, Dad, I gotta pee. Somewhere along the way, it's like, can we stop and get something to eat? I'm hungry. What's a family to do? Do you want to fill them all filled with Burger King or Wendy's or McDonald's or whatever? Or would you rather, since it is vacation, do something to, slow the tempo and the pace down? And pull into the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel. Park the Wagon Queen family truckster. Head inside for a lunch or maybe a breakfast or lunch, whatever the case may be, knowing that you can get a table for the whole family, and you can sit down and enjoy the country atmosphere, right? Enjoy the service of a friendly member of the wait staff who probably is a local and has been for many, many years. And then you're probably, you're thinking that you're going to get really good, freshly prepared and cooked meals. Good stuff. For a while there, I was going out of my way to go to Cracker Barrel's because I love their fried chicken. Because we should do a throwdown on a Thursday night throwdown on fried chicken or fried foods. In any event, our family actually looked forward to, and we knew pretty much the Cracker Barrels. There's a couple of them, Twix here in South Carolina, we were going to stop at. That's a category. They own that. And there were other kind of chains that came along after that that might have attempted something similar, but no one could touch Cracker Barrel. You own that. Now, so what is something that you could foolishly do if you're a company like Cracker Barrel? If you wanted to kill your brand, what would you do? Give up your category. Well, the Category Pirates dudes, they talk about this. There was here, I'll share it with you. This is from October the 3rd, 2011, How Brands Were Born, A Brief History of Modern Marketing. This is from The Atlantic before it was known as a communist rag, written by Mark the Swan Aarons. This piece was read by millions upon millions of Fortune 500 and other large company CEOs, CTOs, CFOs, what have you here, and it spawned this idea that branding. How many of you are familiar with the term branding? Branding is everything. What is your brand? Look, I talked about it. I had it drilled into my head. You're the brand. This is the brand. Well, the point that the Category Pirate dudes make, and I think this is just genius, and I've shared it with the audience, and I've told people that work for that work with us on the Crusade channel, that if when we were talking about doing certain things, I required of them that they had to watch or had to get this audio book called Snow Leopards and listen to Snow Leopards. Because Snow Leopards pretty much is all about this. They have a follow-up book, the Category Pirate dudes. It's called The Big Brand Lie, How Categories Make Brands and Why Brand Marketers Never Believe It. It's the category that made Cracker Barrel. The logo was an accident to the category. It doesn't hurt it, but it accentuates the fact that, the people that I stop at when I'm traveling with the family, when I want a good home-cooked meal and Southern hospitality, right? That's the category. So how could you blow that? Make it gay and woke? Force feed homo and tranny communism and stuff it down people's throats and tell them that their stupid attachment to nostalgic or classic Americana, if you will, was just that stupid, short-sighted, and bigoted, and that the sanitizers at McDonald's and other corporate fast food franchise, that they had it all figured out with their stale and sterile colors and just the blandness of the interior of one of those joints. Who would ever want to sit down in one of those places unless you had to? Well, it was the exact opposite for a brand, for Cracker Barrel. You actually look forward to sitting down in a Cracker Barrel. You look forward to getting the triangle peg game and seeing which member of the family could get down to one. You look forward to the freshly made iced tea and all that. They intentionally took a dagger to it and killed it. Now, this may be part corporate malfeasance, it may be part woke and DEI stupidity, but it is most certainly a complete and total misunderstanding of what made Cracker Barrel, and that is it owned a category. So it doesn't own a category now. There's no reason to stop there. They have literally taken white paint and have literally, I'm not saying figuratively speaking, literally speaking, taken white paint to what was once charming and just ripped the soul out of it. There is no character there. It is banal, it's sterile, it's ugly. What is this, Maggie? What are you saying that I must do? Oh, big bro. Whoa, ho, 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 ho. Let me pause this thrilling monologue for just a moment here. This is why we are the category pirate of American morning drive talk radio and a crusade for the truth here. We have breaking!
Wow.
The FBI just raided John Bauman Bolton's home in a national security probe, as FBI Director Kash Patel posted, no one is above the law.
Wow.
Take your...
It's happening.
Yeah, where is... wait a minute. I want to see it in the chat room. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1... Where's the frog with the wristwatches? Has anyone been arrested yet? Where's he at? I want to see him. Where's the frog with the wristwatch? No one's been arrested yet. Maybe someone will. So the demise of Cracker Barrel, I think, is an opportunity. The opportunity is Eric Trump, who is the restaurateur of the Trump family. He runs the Trump Family Winery in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is worth the visit if you're ever in wine country in Charlottesville. Maggie and I have been there. Everything you expect of a Trump property. It's immaculately maintained. The grass. I love the grass. Eric's done a great job with the grass in Charlottesville. It's beautiful. Stop at the the Trump Winery, and I'm wondering now, someone like Eric Trump could swoop in, and the owl swoops in, and could rescue Cracker Barrel from itself because it's dead. It's dead. The word is now out. And the people that were stopping there aren't going to stop there anymore. They're just not going to lend their hard-earned coin to a company that mocks their very existence. They're just not going to do it. And this is stupid. This is just stupid. I mean, not that I would buy high fructose corn syrup in a bottle, but if I was going to, I probably previously would have bought Aunt Jemima. Not going to buy it anymore. Aunt Jemima ain't Aunt Jemima. Same with Land O'Lakes butter. You know, I don't think those kind of people ever
Uncle Ben rice?
recover from that. Uncle Ben. What did they do to Uncle Ben? Well, they Uncle Ben, they 86'd Uncle Ben is what they did. So they got rid of Uncle Ben. In any event, I think that the demise of Cracker Barrel is also the demise of woke DEI. And I think this is just the last time. Look, the Washington Redskins, the Cleveland Indians. You know, these people have all these skins up on the wall. Yeah, man, look at all the racist, bigoted, homophobic stuff that we like to feed it and just kind of like made America like rainbow flag and training like gay and stuff. I'm pretty sure that you are going to lose. By the way, Cracker Barrel stock is tanking. Yep. There's a funny meme of Nancy Pelosi walking through the halls of Congress yesterday on her phone going, "Sell Cracker Barrel!" If you follow the Nancy Pelosi, what's it called? The Pelosi Index? Yeah. If you follow the Pelosi Index, you were told yesterday that you should sell Cracker Barrel. Probably smart advice. We'll update you on the updated breaking news after the timeout.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
And so, the responsibility of every coffee cup is to ensure the authenticity, the freshness, and... Now, who in the name of Pete Hexes could this be?
Good afternoon, dear.
Dear, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be home with the little coffee cups.
I was home with little Arabica, Columbia, and baby Dark Roasta, and then the phone rang. It was Director Trump.
What did he want?
Well, seems he was told that when we were at Coffee Cup Academy together, I was the one chosen to be the coffee cup inspector. Then...
When I look into those dark, roasted eyes of yours, all I can think of is... Well, will you be my wifeachino?
And I've been completely happy raising our little espressos until you started spending all your time fending off some dropout and his pet Sasquatch.
It wasn't a Sasquatch, it was a Rougarou. And besides...
Oh, save it for the decaffers. To guarantee we bring about the golden age of American coffee, Director Trump has put me back in charge.
Will Miss Coffee Cup save the CCA and bring about the golden age of American coffee? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mychurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Magdalene Rose at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. This report is brought to you by Cooking with the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. Here's your In the Market report. The rotation trade continued yesterday, but faded as we moved through the session. At one point, the S&P 500 and mega cap growth were down -1%, but the S&P rallied to finish only 0.2% lower. The equal weight was marginally better. The FOMC minutes were released yesterday afternoon and lead towards somewhat hawkish, showing broad support for holding rates outside of the known dissensions from Waller and Bowman. However, the meeting happened right before the jobs report that had big negative revisions. The S&P 500 and equal weight are down 0.5%, but the Russell 2000 is trying to stay in the green. Healthcare is outperforming, continuing its relative strength this week. Energy is also higher. Consumer staples and discretionary are underperforming. Walmart is trading lower with mixed takeaways from earnings. Weekly claims continue to show a job market where layoffs are relatively low, but companies are not adding payroll. Treasuries have extended to the downside. In National Calendar Day news, today is National Bow Day. National Bow Day guarantees your taste buds will be shouting wow why because ancient Chinese gastronomic delicacies often cause ooh and ahs on food holidays. It's also National Never Been Better Day. If you've waited for Never Been Better Day to enjoy the unconditional love of your canine companion, today is the day. Our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
While Trump continues to try and make America great again
by doing Mortal Kombat with the Clinton, Comey, and Clapper crime families.
You forgot the...
Nope, did not. And the king of Russia treason, the Obama father.
Well, we'll always be there for you with the best live coverage and commentary in media on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
He's an ethanol-free, inflation-resistant, grass-fed, red meat-eating American. And for extra credit, he also hosts a radio show. The Mike Church Show is on crusadechannel.com.
You can never know what it's like. Your blood like winter freezes just like ice. And there's a cold and lonely light that shines from you. You wind up like the wreck you hide behind that mask you use. And did you think this fool could never win? Well, look at me, I'm coming back again. I got a taste of love in a simple way. And if you need to know while I'm still standing, you just stay away.
Everybody.
I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor. Looking like a little kid.
Anyway, Sean Davis points out at the Federalist.com today. Cracker Barrel is dead, and its stupid woke CEO killed it with gay nonsense. I'm going to answer a question in the Crusader Stadium chat room here because the new improved Mike Church 34.0 has committed to a more close relationship with our listeners and subscribers. So, Near and Nate, why does anyone give a about Cracker Barrel? Have you been there in the last 90 days? No, I haven't. I stopped going to Cracker Barrel back in the summer of Love Part 2 in 2023 when they rolled out their homo pride, tranny pride, and boasted and bragged that their HR department and partner, most everyone that worked at the corporate HQ in Nashville were either homos, trannies, or were in love with homos and trannies. And this is right in Nashville, Tennessee. You would think in the heart of country music land. So no, I haven't been to one since then. But as I said, Near and Nate, I remember when I used to go and why I go. So to answer your question, it's not that we give a rat's furry behind about the current iteration of Cracker Barrel. It's that we gave a rat's furry behind about the old iteration of Cracker Barrel. And I think it would be a good thing if that were to be restored. So that's the point. It's not to shed crocodile tears for the HR department and the stupid CEO. Do you know that she hired 3 advertising agencies to come up with a new logo? Again, this is make the logo bigger. This is stupid. Look, there's your headline right there, Maggie. FBI raids John Bolton's home and security pro. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, America's Morning Show, a crusade for the truth, the Mike Church Show. This is why you have a Founders Pass membership and why you can tune in with confidence every morning. News breaks out, it breaks in. You don't have to go looking for it. You don't have to have a stupid social media account. All you need to have is some device that you can listen to what amounts to a radio show or a TV show or watch it, and we will keep you up to date without all the other crap that you have to go through to get it. We will find it for you. And you see, I put my our number one. She just outdid all 6 of Megyn Kelly's producers. We had the story on CrusadeChannel.com, the Mike Church Show, 12 minutes before they got it on Fox. Boom. Take that. So that's why you tell your friend, I don't know why she listens to TV radio. Because it's morning radio the way that you remember it, and it's hosted by America's morning show host, and he's on a crusade for the truth, and you should join us. That is incredible. Kash Patel follows that announcement up with, yeah, there's stuff's going to happen here. These guys are criminals. You know, I remember back in 2019, I remember talking about this during Shampeachment 1.0. That Trump made the mistake of listening to neocons and to Israel firsters that he had all over. And there are still Israel firsters in the Trump administration. Do not misunderstand. I don't need you going in the chat room and correcting me. Okay? There are still Israel firsters and Zionists in the Trump administration. I know it. You know it. We all know it. Let's move along. But in 1.0, they were running the show. Pretty much the whole show. And they brought in bad people like Gina Haspel at CIA and John Bauman Bolton as a national security advisor in the actual White House. Did you remember the time that somebody asked Trump about that? And what did Trump say? He said, he goes, I was opposed to it, but I went along with it because I could bring him to meetings and he would just sit there and scare people. Remember him saying that? I could bring this Bolton guy to meetings and he just sit there with that mustache and he was just like scary. So the foreign heads of state didn't want to see him. They were afraid of him. So you see a guy like Bolton down. And now the Bolton's home has been raided. I wonder what they were looking for. I wonder what they were looking for. I wonder what was in the search warrant. John Baum in Bolton was one of those that jumped on Trump's grave when they raided Mar-a-Lago and was like, "Nanny, boo-boo, no one is above the law, not even the president I used to work for. I'm surprised that they're going to find all kind of secret that he was giving information to the Russians." This guy is a traitor. It can't happen to a more perfect target/subject than John Bauman Bolton.
Okay, so apparently this probe it's set to involve classified documents, and it was first launched a couple of years ago, but the Biden administration shut it down for, quote, political reasons, end quote.
So it was. So this is probably pertaining to Shampeachment 1.0, and the fact that Shifty Adam Schiff. Okay, where was Schiff getting some of his intel? Well, we know Alexander Vindman is the traitor. I can't wait for that guy to be perp walked and either thrown into a federal jail or sent back to Ukraine where he belongs. So we know that Vindman was one of the leakers. We also know, and I think Trump figured this out because he fired him, that Bolton was one of the leakers. One of the things that you're not allowed to do is, outside of your security clearance, you're not allowed to transport classified documents from the source of where you read them. So in other words, you're allowed to go into a situation room, right? And depending on what your security clearance is, they'll bring all the people in there that I'm just making something up. We're at DEFCON 2. At DEFCON 2 level. So anyone that has the clearance can read what's at DEFCON 2 level. But that's not a homework assignment. You can't take it with you. You see the difference? You can read it, you can know it, you can internalize it, you can help act upon it or advise the president, whatever the case may be, but you can't take the actual intelligence, you can't take the actual document home. So if I'm reading Kash Patel, right, John Baum and Bolton was taking classified stuff home. Maybe also that is just the excuse that they are using, because I wonder if you follow the money trail. By the way, this guy... Is he still on payroll? Is he on payroll at CNN? I want to say that he was, at least for a time, that he was one of those goons that used his security clearance to make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, by being an expert security analyst for a television network. So, in any event, boy, what a great day. I wonder who else. You know what? I wonder if Crapper... I wonder if James Comey right now may be looking at his Rice Krispies just a little different. No, we need rainbow-colored Fruit Loops. Might be looking at his rainbow-colored Fruit Loops just a little different today. Looking out the window, wondering if the FBI is going to show up at his house. I hope these guys have cortisol levels screaming through their arteries right now, with anxiety and stress, wondering which one of them is next. Let's do some more headlines here as we they got the satellite trucks to Bolton's house quick, man. Look at that. He got a shot outside of his house in Bethesda, Maryland. Total victory is what it is. It's total victory. I said I did nothing wrong. Trump has declared total victory today after an appeals court Thursday threw out Judge Arthur Ingmoron's egregious multi-million-dollar penalty in the New York civil fraud case. A five-panel judge in New York's appellate division unanimously ruled that the fine, originally set at $355 million. How much was that? $355 million. was excessive and unconstitutional under the Eighth Amendment. According to Trump, the penalty with interest had surged to over 550 million. Trump wrote on Truth Social, total victory in the fake New York State Attorney General Maltetia James case. I greatly respect the fact that the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision that was hurting business all throughout New York State. Others were afraid to do business there. The amount, including interest and penalties, was over $550 million. Judges Diane T. Renwick and Peter H. Moulton wrote that the court's disgorgement order, which directs that defendants pay nearly $500 million to the state of New York, is an excessive fine that violates the Eighth Amendment of the United States Constitution. They deliberated for 11 months. Remember, Trump had to post a $175 million bond in April 2024, preventing Maltetia James from being able to freeze his bank accounts and seize his properties until his appeals were heard. Ladies and gentlemen, these people, especially these appointed, self-aggrandizing, single, angry, ugly black women. Look at what they do with power. By the way, Maltetia James is going to get hers for the fraud, the mortgage fraud that she committed. And like previous New York State AGs, like Elliot Spitzer and whoever that other crank was, they're going to find out that this broad is as crooked as the proverbial day is long, that she thought that she could do and get away with anything because she's a female and she's black. And therefore, she is entitled, and you can't touch me, can't touch it. I'm MC Hammer with a gavel, which you're going to find out that that's not the case. I love the fact that some of this stuff slowly but surely is just blowing up in these leftard maniacs' faces. How about this one? We're going to talk a lot about this today. U.S. pauses visas for commercial truck drivers, citing safety and other impacts. So it took the death of 3 people in Florida to finally force the United States of America to do what it should have been doing for the last 40 years. And that is, or certainly the last 20 years, and that is bring an end to foreigners driving tractor trailers across the amber waves of ethanol. Bring it to an end. A little bit of history on this. My stepdad was a Vietnam veteran and a lifelong trucker. That was his vocation. He loved doing it. He loved driving a truck. He never did like long, coast to coast kind of transcontinental. He never did the long haul trucking. He was a regional short haul trucker. My stepdad worked for Old Dominion Freight Line back in the late 60s and mid 70s when it was still a regional carrier throughout the Old Dominion, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, West Virginia, kind of that area there, the Mid-Atlantic region. After that, he moved on from Old Dominion to ABF Freight. And he worked for the next 20-some-odd years for ABF until he retired. And I want to say that ABF was with the Teamsters. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that they were in a union. But a total of like 1968 to 1998 or so, he was a trucker. When I was a little cheerins, my mother didn't have to work. Driving a truck for Old Dominion was sufficient. He brought in sufficient income to support a wife and 5 children. So you could do this in America back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, maybe even through the 90s. And then something happened. Remember, we started talking about this around the time that George W. Bush 43, was saying that he was going to throw the doors of amnesty open to 6 million illegal alien criminal trespassers. And one of the primary vocations that they were citing as the reason that it needed to happen was Mexican-born, Mexican citizen truckers that were in the United States and were being hired by American companies. Remember, we did dozens and dozens and dozens of shows on the old Sirius XM Patriot channel, and no one could believe this. Well, we have truckers that were calling in, especially guys that used to be, this is a great topic. I could talk about this for the rest of the day. Do you know who launched XM satellite radio? Do you know who made XM satellite radio? And then, of course, Sirius would have to play catch up because its business model was different. You know who made XM satellite radio profitable? America's truck drivers. Trust me, I know. I was there. I was there when the service was launched in December of 2000. I was on air on the Sirius satellite radio service in December of 2001, and all the way through the merger of Sirius XM. Who was it that bought satellite radios in the first 5 years? Truck drivers. Almost every call I would take would be from a trucker on a Bluetooth hand. Because Maggie, remember, you'd screen the calls and you'd go like, "Are you on a hands-free?" And then you know it was a trucker, and you say, "Can you actually pick the receiver up?" And they go, "Well, I'm driving the truck." And you go, like, "Okay, well, you keep it on hands-free until he goes to you. But when he goes to you, can you pick the receiver up?" It was America's truck drivers that through, you could even say, made satellite radio kind of necessary. It was America's truck drivers, and we're thrilled to be able to get a radio service that worked from Boston all the way to Bakersfield. And they didn't have to go scanning to the dial looking for whatever AM or FM radio station. Probably had talk radio on it, either talk radio or country. They didn't have to go looking for it, which is why XM and its early music channels, one of its big channels was the trucker channel. They actually had a trucker channel. But I can tell you, because I was there, that there's enough over-the-road truckers. And it used to be, back in the day, before the criminal enterprisers came in and took over and ruined everything, because that's what they do. It used to be a majority of America's truckers were what they called owner-operators, OOs. What did that mean? That means that they owned the truck that they drove. Now, they may own a trailer, but they may not have to own a trailer because wherever the load was that they were going to get, there might be a trailer that was preloaded there, and you just go back up to it and have at it. But the owner-operators made America's trucking industry roll. And, and when they wanted to take time off, they'd drive their big rig to their home, or wherever it may be, disconnect from the trailer, and then you'd see it parked out, in your neighborhood or whatever, or maybe they built a little garage or a cover for it in the backyard or the side yard or whatever. But America's owner-operators were the lifeblood of American trucking until, and this always happens, greed sets in, big companies come, and they start hiring the owner-operators to go to work for them. Well, you know what, you don't have to go out looking for jobs. Because the way it used to be, you'd have like a dispatcher person, or you'd you use the dispatcher service, and you guys that are truckers, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, you'd call, before cell phones, you'd call your dispatcher service and say, "What do you got for me? I'm in Topeka, Kansas, or wherever." I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana. What do you got for me? And they go like, "You want a load out of Gary? You got to go to Gary, but you could pick it up in Gary to Santa Fe. You want that one? Yeah, I'll take that one." It worked pretty well. But then all the corporations came in and started buying up all the trucks. And eventually they bought up enough trucks to where the owner-operator was a small minority. And then that wasn't enough. So how is it in big business that that's called a load broker, Philip? Thank you very much. I didn't know that. Okay, a load, that makes sense. Well, what ultimately happened? Big companies can't make enough money to pay the debt that they took on to buy out other owner-operators. So, if they wanted to stay in business, Philip, and you other truckers out there, what did they do? They fired the Americans and they hired Mexicans. This was Marco Rubio has stumbled on, and I think it literally stumbled on it. Maybe I'll do a little research now and find out about this. Marco Rubio has stumbled upon one of the great business tragedies of the 21st century. And you know what that is? America's truckers were told to suck it. They were told to go screw themselves and their experience. Go learn to code. We's hiring Mexicans. And they did it by the tens of, not hundreds of thousands. S. Parker in the chat room is saying they hire Russians too. And you know what? You get an H-1B visa, and yeah, you could come on in. They didn't have to pay them $85,000, $100,000 a year, whatever the American trucker would make, and they could pay him $30 and $40. That was a fortune. And so that's how they stayed in business. What was the company that just went under? We talked about it, and they went under because they couldn't pay their debt. I think it was Yellow Freight. Remember, Maggie, a couple of years ago, Yellow Freight buckled under the weight of the debt that they undertook to buy out all the American truckers that they put out of business, hired the Mexicans, and even then they couldn't make it. So, this temporary restraining order or whatever, that no more visas can be issued for truckers. I have a question. Why were they being issued to begin with? Whose idea was it to give American truckers jobs to foreigners? Remember South Park did a whole series of episodes on it. Remember they took our jobs. Remember they took our jobs. And then, you get the big corporations. That's another good point, S. Parker. You get the big corporations like Walmart, who then, what did Walmart do? No, we don't want any owner-operators. We'll run our own line. And then they get into business. Basically, they're not in the business of trucking. Amazon's doing the same thing right now. It's an outrage, and it needs to come to a complete and total stop. And then you need to undo that damage.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no! Get your hands off of me! You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up! Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
Where's his Sunday best? Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Our house in the middle of our street. as a crowd. There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud.
I need something to listen to challenge my faith and tickle my not-so-nice funny bone.
Well, you won't hear anything about Mondays coming or cheeseburgers in paradise, but you will hear the most brutally honest Catholic-inspired commentary on Parrot Talk. Weekdays.
Oh, this Boats, Beaches, Bars, and Ballads fan sees what you did there.
Weekdays at 2 Central on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, it's Mike Church with another adventure in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. The difference between an antidote and an anecdote. One is a cure for something that's poisoned you, like a corona hoax vaccination, and the other is a short accounting of facts, something the aforementioned vaccine has almost none of. Here's another anecdote for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our Founders Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag right here in America? Yep. Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off and get a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. Don't cost nothing. Hurry, spring is coming and supplies are limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Magdalene Rose at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. This report is brought to you by Cooking with the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. Here's your In the Market report. The rotation trade continued yesterday, but faded as we moved through the session. At one point, the S&P 500 and mega cap growth were down -1%, but the S&P rallied to finish only 0.2% lower. The equal weight was marginally better. The FOMC minutes were released yesterday afternoon and lead towards somewhat hawkish, showing broad support for holding rates outside of the known dissensions from Waller and Bowman. However, the meeting happened right before the jobs report that had big negative revisions. The S&P 500 and equal weight are down 0.5%, but the Russell 2000 is trying to stay in the green. Healthcare is outperforming, continuing its relative strength this week. Energy is also higher. Consumer staples and discretionary are underperforming. Walmart is trading lower with mixed takeaways from earnings. Weekly claims continue to show a job market where layoffs are relatively low, but companies are not adding payroll. Treasuries have extended to the downside. In National Calendar Day news, today is National Bao Day. National Bao Day guarantees your taste buds will be shouting wow why because ancient Chinese gastronomic delicacies often cause ooh and ahs on food holidays. It's also National Never Been Better Day. If you've waited for Never Been Better Day to enjoy the unconditional love of your canine companion, today is the day. Our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Back in the 90s, there was this thing called the cigar boom where everyone was buying and smoking handmade cigars. But here's the thing. The popular cigars then were the best made cigars like Fuente, Hoya de Monterrey, and Avo. Over the next 10 years, craftsmanship was replaced by gimmick and slick packaging. And that's when I decided to get in the business and launched El Rey Dude Corona cigars. 20 years later, I launched Mancipio Maria cigars with that same principle in mind. Make a great handmade cigar, and that's exactly what we do in 4 sizes. I invite you to try a 4-pack sampler of my Mancipio Maria cigars and taste them for yourself in smooth, natural, or bold Maduro wrappers. And to sweeten the deal, I've discounted them 25% for a limited time. And as always, we include a personal humidifier with every order. To order, go to shop.mikechurch.com. Order $50 or more, and shipping is on me. Try my Mancipio Maria cigars today at shop.mikechurch.com.
While Trump continues to try and make America great again
by doing Mortal Kombat with the Clinton, Comey, and Clapper crime families.
You forgot the...
Nope, did not. And the king of Russia treason, the Obama father.
Well, we'll always be there for you with the best live coverage and commentary in media on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
folks, it's Mike Church, producer of the Shakespeare Radio Film Festival, announcing that we're offering the entire festival, including Joseph Pierce's commentaries, for just $19.95. That's a 50% discount. This exclusive download will include over 16 hours of festival content. To reserve your Shakespeare Radio Film Festival download at an incredible 50% off, go to crusadechannel.com/Hamlet.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/KingDude. That's mypillow.com/KingDude.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of a demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah, but besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
Hey guys, you got a minute?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
It's about my dad. He wants to have a sex change operation.
Whoa, I knew he was gay. I didn't think he was that gay.
No, Peter, he's not gay. He's a woman stuck in a man's body.
Yeah, gay.
No, it's totally different.
Sounds the same.
Well, it's not.
Okay, so he wants to be a woman so he can be a lesbian?
No, he'd date men.
Gay.
Yeah, gay.
Okay, this is not the help I came over here for.
Well, look, let's just all agree that he's odd, huh?
He has an appointment Friday with Dr. Hartman to have the procedure, and he wants me to go with him. I don't know if I can handle that.
Well, I'm sure your friend Peter would be happy to come along for moral support.
All right, but look, here's the deal. Anything he lops off, we get to bring home for Brian.
That's very green of you, Peter.
Why you had to hide away for so long? Where did we go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky,
Groot, put that down!
you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong?
Groot, don't eat that! That's always a great Friday, whenever you can play Electric Light Orchestra's Mr. Blue Sky. Go ahead, YouTube. Mark my video.
Mr. Blue Sky's up there waiting, and today is the day we've waited for. Oh, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong?
And I laugh every time Maggie puts that little Groot animated GIF in the chat room of Groot dancing. from the Guardians of the Galaxy, recapping our big news breaking story of the day. You know, that song is worth listening to all the way to the end, where it slows down and they go to Mr. Blue Sky. Mike Churchill and the Crusade channel here on a Free Phone Friday. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store at shop.mikechurch.com. We are drinking Capuchin Holy Roast coffee today. Get yourself a bag of 16 today, which will be freshly ground and roasted when they arrive either later today or on Monday. So for the best, freshest gourmet coffee you can get anywhere, try our Capuchin Holy Roast in whole grind or whole bean or in grind at shop.mikechurch.com. And in addition to shopping in the Founders Trading Post store and taking those Dude Number t-shirts for $5 off my hands. Dude, I'd buy one just to paint in it. You can't get a Fruit of the Loom t-shirt for $5. But you can get a Dude Number t-shirt for $5. Not only will be shipping you a mug, we'll be shipping you a rosary, some cigars, beast and butt rub, Canadiana steak seasoning, and chicken mamu, and we'll throw inside the coffee that you order and a couple of books. Be a nice big box. Nice, beautiful one, big, beautiful box. We will be keeping the United States Postal Service in business because the Founders Trading Post store ships exclusively via U.S. mail. So KY Postman, Joe Beeman, and others, we're going to be permanently employed and always delivering your mail. That's why you shop at the Founders Trading Post store. No digital delivery, mail, baby. So shop with us today. Shipping is free. Orders over $50. Shop.mikechurch.com. You won't believe the things that are in that store. You go, I didn't know you guys had all this. By the way, it is barbecue season. Tailgating is coming up. I need to see cases of beast and butt rub flying out of the store. If you're going to do wings at a tailgate, you need to go to cooking.mikechurch.com for my chicken limalo recipe. The recipe will explain why it's called limalo. Instead of buffalo wings, you get limalo wings. But made with beast and butt rub, they are ever delicious and tangy. My neighbor, the fireman neighbor, dude, I brought him another twist on the recipe the other day. And I handed him a plate. I said, try one, Chad. And he tried one, and he goes, dude, you got to give me that plate. I can't. I got to bring some in. I got to bring in some for Tiffany. So he took the whole plate, and I never saw the plate again. He still owes me a plate. Those were seasoned with chicken mamu and a combination of mamu and beast and butt rub. So tailgate season coming up. We got you covered, bro. No matter what it is you're cooking, I got a seasoning for you. Get it at shop.mikechurch.com. And, you hear us talking about this. We make those. Those aren't like private labeled from some McCormick spice man. Those are our recipes. We make those for you. All right, recapping the big news of the day, John Bohman Bolton's home has been raided in an early morning raid by the FBI. FBI Director Kash Patel tweeting out that, yes, we raided Bohman Bolton's home and no one is above the law. Apparently, this is a revival of an investigation that was going on at the end of the Trump administration, was picked up by the Biden regime, and the Biden regime killed it. And so when Patel and Bongino or whoever took over, apparently the investigation was restarted, and Bohman Bolton's home has been raided. Do we have anything else on it? We don't know anything else about it other than what's been tweeted out, right? Yeah, they're still talking about basically the same intel. Jonathan Turley's talking on Fox News right here. I'm just curious.
Couple of weeks as to what led them to move on the House to acquire this evidence. But as you noted, this has been a long-standing bone of contention between Bolton and the administration.
Jonathan, maybe I've watched too many movies,
What does it look like inside the house when they're having this raid? I mean, we see in the movies, the papers are everywhere. They go through every drawer. They leave a mess.
They usually do leave a mess. I had a client where they showed up at his house. He was a scientist at like 3 a.m, and the kids were screaming, and they were trying to calm the kids while these agents just tore apart the house. So it can be, it can truly be traumatic, particularly if you have young children, which is not the case here. But these FBI agents have a right to go in there. So unless it's a no-knock warrant, which wouldn't be a case, I can't imagine they had a no-knock warrant here. If you have a no-knock warrant, they can take that door off its hinges because they believe that someone in the house could be a threat to the officers. There's no reason to suggest that here. So normally there's a knock on the door. They do go through.
Okay, so it's just a chatter about how the raid would go. No details yet. But we kind of do know that they were looking for documents pertaining to some operation that Bonham Bolton was involved in when he was in the Trump administration. And as I said earlier, someone that covered that whole thing, that's one of the advantages of having yours truly as your host. I remember things. We covered them here. And remember when Trump kicked Bolton out, remember he showed up for work one day and he was told at the gate, you can't come in. And he's like, I'm John Bonham Bolton. What do you mean I can't come in? Your security clearance has been revoked and the president has fired you. And this was as a result of President Trump 1.0 being told this guy's a snake. He's been stealing from you, and he has been stealing things and leaking them to the Washington Post and other media sources. And, of course, Trump did what Trump does, and he fired him. And he did the same thing to Alexander Vindman and his brother. I want to say they were all within a day or so of each other. And they were told, we cleaned your desk out for you. Don't worry about it. You're not coming back in. So are we going to get Pam Bondi later today reading the arrest warrant or the indictment? That would be awesome. Wouldn't that be awesome? I want to talk about Marco Rubio's, I think we have the story here. We do have the story here. I want to talk about the threat posed to Americans by foreigners. You know, all of the deportations and the rounding up of the gangs. We had the story 2 days ago about how the military is being ready to go to actual war with the cartels, and that they are things are being planned and what have you here. Well, it took the deaths of 3 citizens of Florida to goose, if you will, the Trump administration into doing something that it probably should have done. Now, look, there's so much crap that's broken and wrong, so it's hard to identify everything to knock it all out at once. I think that they're certainly going to get about the business of knocking it out now. And as we were talking last hour, you know, what has been done to America's truckers and to the trucking industry is a crime, just like what was done to America's steel workers. Well, name your Rust Belt or roll your sleeves up and or work your 40, 50 hours a week hard and get paid well for it, vocation or industry. They've all been destroyed intentionally. We made the pivot without anyone ever agreeing to it, from being a country that made things and produced things to a country that consumes things. And the things that we did need to make, well, we just chopped that out to foreigners. America's truck drivers were one of those industries. But it's not as though there are a lack of trucks on the road. Maggie and I were driving home Sunday from Walsingham West, and we're noting at a place where we were stopped in traffic that all we could see, we couldn't see what the issue was up ahead with the traffic because we couldn't see around all of the 18-wheelers. Now, I'm all for interstate commerce. I'm never going to lobby against it. you should have free trade and amity with your neighbors and fellow states, but this has just gotten ridiculous. Things are being made now thousands of miles from where they're being consumed. And in order to get them from point A to point B, you got to throw them in these tractor trailers, and you have to have someone hired to drive them. And apparently, these trucking companies didn't want to pay what American truck drivers wanted to be paid, and so they brought Russians and Mexicans in by the millions, apparently. Still, there is a shortage of 80,000. Supposedly, there's a trucker shortage. Well, you probably haven't looked hard enough, or it's not a trucker shortage, it's a cash shortage. Imagine a scenario under which you actually had to pay the prevailing wage or the living wage of an American citizen to drive your truck and to transport your crap from Washington State to Florida. Imagine that scenario, and then you had to add that to the cost of doing business. Well, I would think that many people would stop buying your product because it got too expensive. And that maybe if that widget was really needed in Florida, well, then somebody ought to figure out how to make it in Alabama or Mississippi so that it's closer, or maybe even in Florida. And I think that this is a thing. If you're going to stick with the tariff program, that's what's going to happen. That's what needs to happen. But I think I'm willing to pay wages for Americans. U.S. pauses visas for commercial truck drivers, citing safety and other impacts. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on X, effective immediately, we are pausing all issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers. Probably should have done this on January 21st. The increasing number of foreign drivers, Mr. Secretary, with all due respect, and I do respect you, and I hope you do a deep dive on this and get some good advice. This has been a problem since early 2000s. This is not new. There's nothing new under the sun. This is not a recent issue. This is an old problem. And America's criminal enterprise trucking companies that stole pension funds from their truckers, disemployed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them, and they gave their jobs to Mexicans and Russians and Pakis and Hindus and whoever the hell else. This has been a problem for a long time. And America's trucking industry has survived by not being very American. So few. You know, my brother-in-law, Phil, was, until he had a health issue, my brother-in-law, Phil, was still working for a crane company here out of Metairie, Louisiana. Because he was very skilled at getting on and off his flatbed, the large parts that made up parts of the crane. And Phil, he was a rare instance, my brother-in-law. There he had a skill. He was American. He was being paid a decent wage, but he was hauling crane parts. That doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen with the big companies. And somebody told me on X.com that KingDude, you would be shocked. Americans would be shocked at the amount of foreigners that are working for all your major truck companies. All those ones you see zipping along that you see in every state, J.B. Hunt, Old Dominion, all the big ones, they all are hiring foreigners, and they have been. Why? Because they'll work for less, a lot less. Now, is this scenario, has this exacerbated the dearth of manufacturing? The increasing number of foreigners operating large tractor-trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods, American Trucker Secretary Rubio said. Trump has taken steps across to address concerns from foreign truck drivers who don't speak English. If you don't speak English, do you read English? All the street signs and all the road signs are in English. Then, of course, they cite the case of the 3 people that were killed in the U.S. By the way, they've extradited that guy. That dude was flown back to Florida. I want to know how the hell he got out of jail. Because he is now, I saw him getting off the plane and being handcuffed and led into a Florida state trooper or a state police car. And I guess they're taking him to Alligator Alcatraz. Trump's April executive order reversed 2000. Okay, English proficiency standards for truckers were already long-standing law in the U.S. Trump's April executive order reversed 2016 regulations instructing inspectors not to remove commercial drivers from service on U.S. roads if their only violation was lack of English proficiency. That has been reversed. The Department of Homeland Insecurity said that Singh obtained a commercial driver's license in California. Again, this should be Gavin Newsom's Willie Horton. Singh provided correct responses to just 2 of 12 verbal questions and only accurately identifying 1 of 4 highway traffic signs, DHS said. They gave him a license. Anyway, I want to know how many more like this clown are out there. And there was another news release. I didn't see it. Maybe Maggie saw it. She could pop it into the chat room. They didn't just suspend issuing the visas. They said they were undergoing now a review of 55 million currently active visas belonging to people in the United States. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? How did 55 million people get here? Follow-up question. What are they doing here? This was a, by the way, Grandpa Woody, in response to my tweet about this, said, adjusted for inflation, if truckers earn what they did 35 years ago, or what I did 35 years ago, they would make $147,000 annually. The industry claims a driver shortage, but the real issue is a payroll shortage. I want to know this. So the Associated Press comes out with a... Okay, what am I responding here to? They did something to the algorithm in Twitter. They did something, It was an AP story. I can't find it. It's not attached to my tweet anymore, or they deleted it. So I asked the question, how in the hell did 55 million people land here, and we approved of it? Here is a list of countries that don't have 55 million people in population, starting with Kenya at 53 million, Colombia at 52, Sudan at 51. Scroll down to Spain, 49 million. There are more foreigners with valid visas in the United States today than the country of Spain. How the hell did that happen? Going down the list, Algeria, Argentina, Iraq, Afghanistan, Canada. We have more foreigners on valid visas in the United States today than the entire population of Canada. So we have an army of foreigners larger. And by the way, 55 million starts at number 26. So there are only 25 countries on the face of the planet that are larger than the foreign nationalist population of the United States. Something is very wrong here. I want to know what the foreign nationalist population is of Canada. I want to know what the foreign nationalist population is of Spain. I want to know what the foreign nationalist population is of France and of Germany and what they call Italy, of Greece and all the rest of the NATO countries. What is your foreign national population? What is the foreign national population of Argentina? I don't know. It's a rhetorical question. I don't have the answer to it. Play digital media file number, before we run out of time, number 1. We'll start at the top, Maggie, so you don't have to go looking for the tab. It'll be the first one. Trump talking about law enforcement in D.C.
You people are winners, and I just think it's such an honor to be with you. And we're going to make Washington, D.C. great again. We're making our country great again. The country is very close to being great. When they say it's the hottest country in the world, they mean it. And this capital is right now, after 4 days, 5 days, it's at a level that you haven't seen in a long time, and it's all because of you. So I want to thank you all very much. It's an honor to be with you, and we'll always be with you. We're going to be with you for as long as I'm around. You're going to be treated as nobody more important, and thank you all very much for being here. Thank you.
So he is talking to the National Guardsmen, the cops, the D.C. police. There's much more on all this. It is a free phone Friday, 844-527-8723. Lots more to go, folks.
It's the WWE and the U.S.A. for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the KingDude seasoning trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all three spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the KingDude offers you his personal money-back guaranteed of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a KingDude seasoning trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com.
And so, the responsibility of every coffee cup is to ensure the authenticity, the freshness, and... Now, who in the name of Pete Hexes could this be?
Good afternoon, dear.
Dear, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be home with the little coffee cups.
I was home with little Arabica, Columbia, and baby Dark Roasta, and then the phone rang. It was Director Trump.
What did he want?
Well, seems he was told that when we were at Coffee Cup Academy together, I was the one chosen to be the coffee cup inspector. Then...
When I look into those dark, roasted eyes of yours, all I can think of is, well, will you be my wife-a-chino?
And I've been completely happy raising our little espressos until you started spending all your time fending off some dropout and his pet Sasquatch.
It wasn't a Sasquatch, it was a Rougarou. And besides...
Oh, save it for the decaffers. To guarantee we bring about the golden age of American coffee, Director Trump has put me back in charge.
Will Miss Coffee Cup save the CCA and bring about the golden age of American coffee? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mychurch.com.
Only the Crusade Channel brings you the Saint of the Day read by actual nuns.
Really? Our sisters are actual sisters?
Yes, and you can catch their heavenly voices announcing the Saint of the Day on the Crusade Channel.
Oh, you boomers and your live broadcasts. I'm a busy girl. Sure, I'm very important only in my own mind, but can I get them as podcasts?
I'm not a boomer. And yes, all Saint of the Day recordings are available as mini podcasts on our app and at crusadechannel.com.
I see saintly binge listening in my future. I feel holier already.
Hey, my incorrigible bibliophile bros, if you only have time to read one book this summer, well, then go ahead and read the Holy Bible. But if you have time to read 2 books, then read The Restoration of Christian Culture by John Senior. And for extra credit, if you have time to squeeze 3 books in, then add The Destruction of Christian Culture by Mr. Senior. All available in our massive book selection at shop.mikechurch.com.
Back in the heyday of broadcast TV, NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. That was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is The Mike Church Show, now simulcast live on Roku, YouTube, and Rumble. But if you miss an hour or a day, you can watch that entire show whenever you want when you become a Premium Founders Pass member. Sign up today and access my 2,000-plus podcast. So many, I can't even get my mom to say that she listened. Go premium today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
Now we just talk about making hit records.
Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
I do feel, Reg, that any anti-imperialist group like ours must reflect such a divergence of interest within its power base.
Agreed. Francis? Yeah, I think Judith's point of view is very valid, Reg, provided the movement never forgets that it is the unalienable right of every man or woman to rid himself or herself. Agreed. Thank you, brother. Or sister. Where was I? I think you finished. Oh, right. Furthermore, it is the birthright of every man or woman. Why don't you shut up about women, Stan? You're putting us off.
Women have a perfect right to play a part in our movement, Reg.
Why are you always on about women, Stan?
I want to be one.
What?
I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta.
What?
It's my right as a man.
Well, why do you want to be Loretta, Stan?
I want to have babies.
You want to have babies?
It's every man's right to have babies if he wants them.
But you can't have babies.
Don't you oppress me.
I'm not oppressing you, Stan. You haven't got a womb. Where's the fetus going to gestate? You're going to keep it in a box?
Here, I've got an idea. Suppose you agree that he can't actually have babies, not having a womb, which is nobody's fault, not even the Romans, but that he can have the right to have babies.
Good idea, Judith. We shall fight the oppressors for your right to have babies, brother. Sister, sorry. What's the point? What? What's the point of fighting for his right to have babies when he can't have babies? It is symbolic of our struggle against oppression.
Symbolic of his struggle against reality.
Let's song about our old truck out here.
Well, if you're driving your life away today, pal, you speak Farsi, Mexican, or Spanish. It's a little old Eddie Rabbit there on a Free Fun Friday here on the Mike Church Show. I haven't mentioned it yet today, but if you are on the iPhone or the iPad, the Crusade Channel 2.0 app is out. And it came out on, when did we get it up? Tuesday? It was Tuesday. Came out on Tuesday, but in earnest on Wednesday. And you can download it, and I think it is a major improvement to anything that we have ever put out before. Those of you who have been sorely disappointed and have let all of us know about your disappointment with the other iterations of Crusade Channel apps, wasn't for lack of trying. I think that you'll find that this one is the winner chicken dinner. By the way, we have figured out one of the major chat room problems that you people have, and it's not us, and it's not Rumble Talk, and it's not the app. It's you. And I figured it out because by accident, because I was multitasking twixt this Mac here and this Mac here while I was running a StreamYard broadcast over there. So I can't use the chat room because the whole screen is taken up by the StreamYard and the video on it. So I went, well, wait a minute. I just happen to have a MacBook laying around here. Let me bring the MacBook in here, which I did. I set it right here. And I fire the app up on the MacBook. And I noticed that during the course of that broadcast, StreamYard broadcast, I probably got logged out the chat room 30 times. And I kept going, what? They're right. The thing is cursed. It hates me. But then I figured out what the trigger was, and the trigger is if you had the chat room open and you are logged in to your one Rumble Talk account, and if you have a chat room or a login to Rumble Talk on any other device, if that device wakes up and sends a call to Rumble Talk going like, hey man, hey Llama, a little something for the effort, and says that you're there, Rumble Talk's going to go, oh, wait, how, dude? You can only be on one device at a time, bro. And it's going to pick one of your devices and it's going to log you out of it. Probably the one that you're live on. And you're going to go like, I didn't do anything wrong. It keeps kicking me out. No, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. But it will not allow it. I figured that out. So I tried it this morning to see if I could force it to happen. Guess what? Winner, chicken dinner. I tried it 3 times. So, just so some of you can stop yelling at Maggie and accusing her of all manner of nefarious campaigns against you personally, I'm logged in on that iMac 27-inch right there. So let me see if I can force it to happen. So I had it open, and then I took this guy, my handy-dandy little iPhone here, took my iPhone 12, I fired the Crusade channel up, the app up, the new one, and I went through the whole process, and I logged in, and as soon as I tapped on the message pad and on the app, it logged me out of the iMac. And I went, okay, that's one success. Let's try this on another way. So I logged out of the iPhone, and I fired the MacBook Pro up. And then I went to crusadechannel.com/chat. I opened the chat room up and asked me to log in. When I logged in, as soon as I mouse clicked on the enter text for the message, it logged me out on the iMac again. So that may not be the complete and total culprit, because somebody's going, Archie, we're just thinking of you're lying. You always lie. No, I don't lie. I may get things wrong, but it's not a lie. It knocked me out. You got updated? Your app is updated? It just did. Okay, so Marius, our developer. Oh, look at that. No, that's the old one. No, that's the old one. That's not the new one. That's not the new one? No. It'll look just like the new page. You'll know that's the old. And that's the preview. It works fine if you're on the preview screen. It just won't work if you're logged in. In any event, I think that we have solved a crisis there. So if it's happened to you, there's a very good chance that you were logged into more than one place, and Rumble Talk will not allow you to do that. My friend, Rusty McHugh, died in 2005. He was just one of those good old boys. I met him at me and my friend Bo Walker and my old friend from Huntsville, Alabama, Brian Tatum. It was a big guys weekend. Our friend Larry and Todd, they were all there. We were staying at a place right outside the Floribama in Loxley, Louisiana, Loxley, Alabama. Went on a Sunday afternoon. We were there for a week. Went on a Sunday afternoon to the Floribama, and we watched these two guys, Rusty McHugh. No, it was a Saturday. Rusty McHugh and Mike Fincher. They were called Party Boys. This is the old Floribama before it became an amusement park. And old dive. I mean, you would never go in there unless someone had told you, no, dude, they won't kill you in there. It doesn't have to. You won't get tuberculosis in there. It's fine. And I saw Rusty and Mike play. We all saw them. And we stayed there. We hung out with them for like 3 hours. And we told them that we were all, 3 of us were in radio at the time. I'm the only one that remains. And of course, they were like, man, could you play some of our songs on the radio? I'm like, absolutely, dude. And I have ever since when I remembered to do it. And then I've been back several times. And then Rusty died of lung cancer in 2005 because he was a truck driving consummate chain smoker. But he was a great guy, a great son of Southern Alabama. And last night on the Truck Show Throwdown, we had a competition for the greatest truck songs ever written. And I said, I dedicate this show to my old buddy Rusty McHugh and Mike Fincher with a song that we all could sing and knew by heart at the turn of the last century. And since we're talking about truckers today, here's Rusty McHugh with him and Mike Fincher's song, My Truck.
Out here for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, my truck. He's a good old boy, my truck. Well, it's a big old toy haul stuff. That's what I bought it for. My truck is a good old boy. It ain't pretty by no stretch of the word. It ain't fast like a Thunderbird. It needs paint. Hell, we don't care. It's a good on gas and it'll get you there. Now me and my truck, we're a whole lot alike. We ain't beneath the running, but we don't mind the fight. I wash him in the creek while my dog goes swimming. We get tanked up and we love to chase women. My truck is a good old boy. My truck, well, it's a big old toy haul stuff. That's what I bought it for. My truck is a good old boy. Guitar, Michael. Truck, we're a whole lot alike. We ain't beneath the running, but we don't mind the fight. I wash him in the creek while my dog goes swimming, and we get tanked up, and we love to chase women. My truck is a good old boy. My truck, well, it's a big old toy haul stuff. That's what I bought it for. My truck is a good old boy. He loves music even more than new tires. We load him up with guitars and amplifiers. And when the law runs us off, the beer's all gone. Who you rings waiting to take your ass home? My truck, yeah. He's a good old boy, my truck. Well, it's a big old toy haul stuff. That's what I bought it for. My truck is a good old boy. Oh, my truck is a good old boy. Oh, my truck is a good old boy. Aha! My truck. Yeah.
Rusty McHugh and Mike Fincher, the Party Boys. You can find that on YouTube. That's where I found it. I have the CDs somewhere in one of these crates full of CDs that I have. Let's do some more digital media files here. All right, play the next Trump one. Digital media file number 2. He was out and very active yesterday. By the way, big breaking news for today, if you missed it. John Bauman Bolton's house has been raided and searched by the FBI. Kash Patel, the FBI director, cryptically tweeting out, "No one is above the law." That's all we have right now, and we all look forward to finding out, all right, what were they looking for, and when does he get fingerprinted?
One of the things we're going to be redoing is your parks. I'm very good at grass because I have a lot of golf courses all over the place. I know more about grass than any human being, I think, anywhere in the world. And we're going to be regrassing all of your parks, all brand new sprinkler systems, the best that you can buy, just like the Augusta. No, it'll look like Augusta. It'll look like, more importantly, Trump National Golf Club. That's even better. But we're going to have all brand new, beautiful grass. You know, like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. You know, we have a life and grass has a life.
Grass has a life.
And the grass here died about 40 years ago. So we're going to be rebuilding all of your parks, and it's going to happen fast. It's going to go up like a miracle. So you do the job on safety, and I'll get this place fixed up physically, and we're going to be so proud of it. At the end of 6 months, but let's say at the end of a year, this place will be maxed out in terms of beauty.
Now, if that was Mayor McGillicuddy, you'd go like, yeah, whatever, dude. And if that was Governor Also Ran, you'd go like, yeah, whatever, dude. Sure. You'd go in the Crusaders chat room and put your graphic in there and your animated give. It's noon. Where are the arrests? With the green gator or the green frog or whatever the hell. When it's him, though, because he sets the bar so high, now you actually expect, okay, we're going to be checking in on you. A year from now, we're going to go and look and see if you got the grass planted there. He's right about grass. We've done Free Farm Friday shows about things that you can do around your house to make your own property, no matter how large it is, more regenerative, and if you do that, more beautiful and more healthy for you. One of the things that you can do that, especially if you have a lawn and you have grass and you're having a problem with it, if you're cutting it and you're putting it in a mulch bag, or you're using a blower to blow it all the hell off of the grass, and then, blow it to one corner, and then you grab a rake and you sweep it up and you put it in a trash bag and you throw it away or whatever, stop doing that. Brian K. suggested this a couple years back, and I went, you know what? I have been foolishly telling the lawnmower to blow it all the hell out into the into the ditch. So 4 years ago or so, we started blowing it, not blowing it at all, just blowing it off the sidewalks and stuff back into the grass. That's free nitrogen. Do you know that? If you cut your grass and you leave the grass clippings where they are. Now, sometimes they get in a row and they get gummed up and they look like grass balls. Something like that. You would take a rake and break that up. But that's free nitrogen. It's free. Stop with the Scotts fertilizer feed. You don't need it. All you need to do is cut your lawn and leave the clippings. Hell, cut your lawn, and where the clippings are fresh, water it. And you'll begin the biodegradable process. Right, Brian K., if you're listening? That's the key, is to take the organic material and leave it there so it can start to degrade, and it will make nitrogen. Almost all golf courses, if they are run by good greensmen, know that. But you got to cut it fine. In any event, I fully expect that he is going to be doing this. What is this that you put in the chat room from Benny Johnson? But so we just missed Turley saying this. Says that Bolton could be hit with 20 years in prison over national defense information. It could be national defense information. It creates a heightened potential penalty of 5 to 20 years. Like I said last segment, there's a very good, strong possibility that John Bauman Bolton took state secrets home with him and was squirreling them away, probably under either A, he was trying to hide them so no one would ever see them, or B, he was keeping them for a rainy day so he could leak them somewhere and try and get President Trump in more hot water. Either way, he doesn't have them anymore. Whatever was in that house, shake on. Play digital media file number 6, J.D. Vance. By the way, people in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat are agreeing with what I just said about the grass. And it's a simple thing that we can do. You see, we have all been trained like good caged monkeys to do everything. Archer Daniels, Midland, and ConAgra, and all the rest of the pimps out there that sell the Scotts surf and turf, or whatever the hell they got, turf builder, they sold you on that, oh no, you can't do it organically, you have to use this stuff. Hell, there's a company out there called Chem Lawn. Did you know that? What is it? Talk about a first world problem. What does Chem Lawn do? Well, after you have your grass cut and then you have the guy blow it all off, make sure he gets rid of all the clippings and blows them to kingdom come, the Chem Lawn guy comes behind you and puts the nitrogen down that you just blew into the ditch. Play J.D. Vance at Alta Refrigeration, talking about bringing American jobs back to make things like refrigerators.
If you go back 50, 60 years, what is the fastest period for blue-collar wages rising in the United States of America? It is the time that we are living in right now, thanks to the economic policies of Donald J. Trump. You know what the worst thing for people at the bottom of the income ladder is? It's when you flood the country with millions upon millions of illegal aliens and force our poor Americans to compete for jobs against low-wage foreigners who don't even have the legal right to be here. That is what destroys the wages and the livelihoods of people who are struggling in this country. We want to empower them to live the American dream. That's why we're protecting their jobs, lowering their taxes, and fighting to make their country safe again.
Maggie, I assume that all these are in a row. Just roll JD number 7. By the by, when he says, well, where did the jobs go? The ones that remained. Who was doing them? Foreigners. In the chat room earlier, there was a post by the Josh K. Josh K., always good to see you, brother. Thank you very much. Josh K. saying that, TKD, I have an answer to your question about where foreigners are and by population in other countries. The United States, 15% of our population is foreign. Apparently, we're not alone. 18% of Krauts are foreigners. 38% of Saudi Arabians are foreigners. United Arab Emirates, that's not a real country, though. 88%. Let's see, Canada, 21% are foreigners. Now, I wonder if that is, now, they're counting visas. We also know that there are, 12 to 15 million that don't have visas? So you got 55 million, add the 10 to 12 million. Now you're up to 65 million. I don't know what the percentage is. Play the next one from J.D. Vance, please.
I know what the president ran on, and what the president cares about is building things right here in the United States of America. It's another reason why I'm proud to be at Alta today. Because for a generation in this country, we had American presidents and American political leaders, and let's be honest, folks, it wasn't just Democrats, it was Democrats and Republicans who would ship our jobs overseas, close our factory doors, and do not a damn thing for the American worker. So how nice is it in Washington, D.C. to have a government that is going to protect your jobs, that's going to fight for this facility and say, very simply, if you're building it here, if you're making it here, if you're producing it here, we are going to give you, and already have given you, a big fat tax cut. That's a good thing. But if you make it overseas, if you try to do something with a foreign worker as opposed to an American worker, if you try to ship our great American jobs and great American factories overseas, then you are going to pay a big fat tariff before you bring that crap back into the United States of America.
There you go.
And that's what President Trump's economic policies are all about, my friends. It's the carrot and the stick. We want to make it easier to build in America. We want to make it harder to build overseas. We want to make it easier to rely on our great American workers because we got a lot of them. American businesses ought to employ American workers. And we want to make it harder to employ foreigners to take those jobs from the Americans who deserve them.
Not breaking any news here. By the way, there was a report. Let's see here. Trump administration is reviewing 55 million foreigners with U.S. visas for any violations. 55 million people who have valid U.S. visas for any violations that could lead to deportation. In a written answer to a question from the AP, the State Department said all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting with an eye toward any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the U.S. of A. Bye, Felicia.
It's the WWE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
Hey folks, did you know that the word watch, as in wristwatch, originates from the Old English word watcha, meaning watchfulness, and was initially used to describe keeping a lookout or being alert? Well, I know two guys who keep a lookout for the highest quality watch movements, bands, and then apply their own love for liberty and the Second Amendment to the design of the faces, and bammo, you have the 2A Liberty Watch Company. My friends George and Josh design watches that are sharp, functional, and inspire. I wear my 2A 4547 POTUS watch every day, and you'll love yours too. Shop their entire line today at 2awatchcompany.com. Use the code CHURCH for 10% off at 2awatchcompany.com.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you know you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different. Like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Magdalene Rose.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I'm Magdalene Rose at the Crusade Channel News Desk. Today's newscast is brought to you by Cooking with the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy, available for one low price at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen to for this hour. Legislators in California voted to hold a special election this fall to let voters decide on the Democrats' plan to gerrymander the state's congressional map. Meanwhile, the Texas Senate is considering a House-passed Republican redistricting plan that could allow the party to gain as many as 5 congressional seats in the midterm elections. An appeals court threw out the New York civil fraud judgment against President Donald Trump that was set to cost Trump and his business more than $500 million. The panel of judges called the penalty excessive. New York Attorney General Letitia James said the state would appeal the decision. Trump greeted law enforcement officials and National Guard members in Washington. The administration house-touted arrests in the district, and 20 members of the Judge Advocate General Corps will join the U.S. Attorney General's office for the District of Columbia next week to help prosecute civilian crimes, 2 people familiar with the matter told NBC News. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters in Kiev that he wants an understanding of the protection allies are willing to give Ukraine within 7 to 10 days. The Trump administration said Thursday it is reviewing more than 55 million people who have valid U.S. visas for any violations that could lead to deportation, part of a growing crackdown on foreigners who are permitted to be in the United States. In a written answer to a question from the Associated Press, the State Department said all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting, with an eye toward any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the United States. Such information could be found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, he or she would be subject to deportation. Since President Donald Trump took office, his administration is focused on deporting migrants illegally here in the United States, as well as holders of student and visitor exchange visas. The State Department's new language suggests that the continual vetting process, which officials acknowledge is time-consuming, is far more widespread and could mean even those approved to be in the United States could abruptly see their permissions revoked. Russia targeted Ukraine overnight with 574 drones and 40 missiles, the Ukrainian Air Force said. Most of the weapons were intercepted by Ukraine's air defenses, but the massive assault was far from unusual, and officials said at least 1 person was killed and 15 injured. Our quote of the day: courageously follow the path of personal holiness and diligently nourish yourselves with the Word of God and the Eucharist. The holier you are, the more you can contribute to building up the Church and society. St. John Paul II. Coming up, our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for cappuccino holy roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
Hey, Lee, You know, we've known each other for a bit now. I just wonder, what do you really love to do?
I love posting civilization-saving threads on X.com, but I get so tired of outrage porn scrolling my medulla has gone oblong blanca.
Well, I know just the thing. Pour an iced cappuccino holy roast coffee. Put your earbuds in and catch 2 hours of suspense. The greatest of all mystery, horror, and whodunit classic radio serials.
Perfect. While you were talking, I completely forgot who Jack Posobiec was.
Catch all 900 plus episodes of Suspense every weekday from noon to 2 p.m. East on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and classic radio.
The way it should be.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different. Like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Magdalene Rose.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I'm Magdalene Rose at the Crusade Channel News Desk. Today's newscast is brought to you by Cooking with the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy, available for one low price at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen to for this hour. Legislators in California voted to hold a special election this fall to let voters decide on the Democrats' plan to gerrymander the state's congressional map. Meanwhile, the Texas Senate is considering a House-passed Republican redistricting plan that could allow the party to gain as many as 5 congressional seats in the midterm elections. Our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. This memorial honors Mary's sinless heart, a symbol of her purity, love for God, and devotion to Jesus. The feast is an opportunity for Catholics to reflect on Mary's interior life and her virtues, especially her love for God and humanity. The devotion to the Immaculate Heart is a tradition within the Catholic Church, often associated with events like the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. An appeals court has thrown out a $500 million penalty that President Donald Trump was ordered to pay in a New York civil fraud trial last year. The judge had ordered Trump to pay the fee for massively inflating the value of the Trump Organization's properties in order to secure favorable loans. In the lengthy ruling on Thursday, judges on the New York Supreme Court's Appellate Division stated that while Trump was liable for fraud, the fine of nearly $500 million was excessive and probably violated constitutional protections against severe punishment. In the case, the judge had ordered Trump to pay $355 million, but with interest that grew to more than $500 million. While harm certainly occurred, it was not the cataclysmic harm that can justify nearly $500 million toward the state, wrote Judge Peter Moulton. In a post on his social media site Truth Social, Trump claimed the decision was a total victory. I greatly respect the fact that the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision. I was hurting business all throughout New York State, he said. It was a political witch hunt in a business sense, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. The New York Attorney General's office, which brought the case against Trump, also framed the decision as a win as it upheld Trump's fraud liability, and the judges did not throw out other penalties that were not financial. The office plans to appeal against a decision on the fine to the state's highest court, the Court of Appeals. In a statement, the Attorney General's office said the office affirmed the well-supported finding of the trial court. Donald Trump, his company, and 2 of his children are liable for fraud. It should not be lost to history, yet another court has ruled that the president violated the law and that our case has merit. You're listening to Crusade Channel News. I'm Magdalene Rose for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
It's the WWE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing. So I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Oh, well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
in the news, old Chiclet Teeth has his house and his office raided. Oh boy, is this great! Greetings to you Crusaders across the amber waves of MAGA Revolution. Mike Church Show is on here on a free phone Friday. You know what that means.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, you know, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Or a Hawaiian shirt bow tie.
It's Repo.
Same thing.
It's Repo.
Yes, it is a free phone Friday. There you are charged with the task of telling us what it is we shall talk about here on the program on the final hour of the day, of the week. Call-in line, telephone number 844-527-8723. You can ask your question in the chat room. CrusadeChannel.com/chat. Who won last night's Truck Thursday Throwdown? We must find out. We have to have a winner so they can pick next week's topic. The podcast will be up later on this morning. By the way, if you people are going to go storming into the Crusader Stadium chat room with your mummy means going kind, and demanding that the one producer that does the work of 6 of Megyn Kelly's producers go out and find you YouTube links, the least you could do is have the courtesy of leaving a stinking $5 chip in the chip jar. Again, here we are. Program's nearly concluded, and this many donations that we could see in the chat room today.
0.0.
I didn't beat the flog. I let the whole thing skate for 2 hours going like, no, they know. They're great, good people, and there are. And by the way, who's the guy who's donated 3 days in a row to break the gree-gree?
I believe it's been JT.
Well, JT and Aiden have been doing $17.76. But and thank you, JT and Aid. But there's been someone else who goes, okay, TK, dude, this is the 3rd day in a row. Dude, you're excused. You don't have to. Someone else needs to put your $20 up today at CrusadeChannel.com/donate. So if you've already contributed this week, you're off the hook. Enjoy your weekend. Today is the feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. No pressure or anything. For the rest of you, especially those that never contribute, as the English say, today is your lucky day and your chance to make a difference in the life of a near poor, starving radio artist and producer that does the work of 7 people with just 2. And how long is Megyn Kelly on every day? Like an hour? 2 hours? 7 people to do 2 mediocre hours, mediocre, crappy radio. And 2 people here do 3.5 hours. And
it's 12 to 2.
Kind. Have to dance like wind-up grinder monkeys on the corner of 35th and 6th Avenue in New York, with the steam coming out of the drain pipes. Come on. We can and must do better. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. We have a nonprofit. It's called the Crusade Radio Guild. As soon as the letter of determination is emailed to me or I get notice of it, which was applied for way back in March. We have been a Louisiana nonprofit since 2021. Somebody said, no, I applied for the nonprofit. I didn't want to apply for the nonprofit during the Biden regime because of what happened during Obama. And all the conservative organizations and entities that were saying, man, we had applications there for 3, 4, 6 years, and they either wouldn't act on it, and when they did, they would deny. It's not an easy application process, by the way. So in any event, thank you very much for your contributes in advance. Maggie said that the next JD soundbite is the good one. I chose wrong when I chose 7. I should have chose 8. I should have chosen 8. I zigged when I should have zagged, which happens to me all the time. So I'm zagging back to where I'm zigging. So this is where he brings does he bring Thor's hammer down on this one? Speaking at Alta Refrigeration yesterday. It's number 8. We need to get you a second monitor so you can spread those tabs out.
That would be amazing.
Hey, we got to get $5 so we can buy a pack of ramen noodles today first.
Ramen noodles is only like $3.
Yeah, but don't tell them that.
We want Americans to be able to pursue their American dream. Whether that means going to a trade school or going to a 4-year education, going to the military, we want to give you as many options as possible. And what happened for a long time in this country is that you had both parties, both sets of leaders saying, no, 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 no. The only pathway that we're going to fund, the only pathway we're going to help you with is if you want to get a 4-year degree. If you want to get a 4-year degree, great. But if you want to be a plumber or an electrician or a pipe fitter, your government ought to fight for you too. And that's exactly what we want to make happen.
And then that's what ought to happen. By the way, for those of you, it's noon and no one's been arrested yet. Green frog chatter people. Well, it is. It's a green frog with no one been arrested. It's already noon. With the raid of Obama Bolton's home, would it make any of you happy that Obama Bolton was arrested? I have a suggestion. By the way, thanks to Maria Hart and Jeffrey Shepard for their contributions. Can I ask a question? Give me your top 10 you want to see them in leg irons and a white one-piece tunic with black stripes with a 60-pound iron ball strapped to their left ankle. Who's in the top 10? Well, Fauci's public enemy number 1, obviously. All of the criminals, Fauci, Comey, Clapper, Brennan. Who am I leaving out here? I could give you half a dozen members of Congress. Alexander Vindman, Vindman's brother, Peter Strzok, Eric Swalwell. Let me think here. Who else was in on all this stuff? Liz Cheney needs to be. She's one of the Russia hoaxers. John Bauman Bolton. There's 10 right there. Shifty Melonhead Adam Schiff. That's 11. They're never going to get him on malfeasance in office, but they might get him on the mortgage fraud. Now, I think that when look, this is how this works. What you need to do is get a couple of these top guys. Let's just say you get 3 of them. Well, now you can play good cop, bad cop, right? All you need is one of them to actually sing like the proverbial stool pigeon. He's a stoolie. You need one of them to sing where the bodies are buried and who killed them.
Who's the weakest link?
That's right. Who's the weakest link after that? Because once one of them starts to sing, and then you play the good cop, bad cop, and you go like, hey, man, we're getting you, bro. We already got you. Your boy in the next room just threw down state's evidence against you. Now, we can make it easier on you, and the AG has agreed to drop your charge if you'll plead out to such and such, but you're going to have to give me something more than you already gave me. That's how you play that game. I don't think that they want Hunter Biden. What would you get? If you're going to get Hunter Biden, then you have to get Devin Archer. You have to get Nancy Pelosi's son. Nancy and Paul Pelosi's son. You have to get Mitt Romney's son. You have to get, oh gosh, there's so many senators and prominent Democrats whose children were all in. You probably have to go after Pelosi's daughter, Alexandria, the one that was filming on 010621. There's all manner of people that are associated and affiliated with this. I don't know that you ever get a Hillary or a Bill or an Obama, but if you did, it would probably collapse the entire system that they've built, maybe forever, at least for decades. Who would go up against that? They tried to get President Trump, so why not Obama? Why not Hillary? Is the Secretary of State above the law? Is the former wife of a president? She was a former United States senator. Is she above the law? Does anyone remember the Whitewater investigation? Remember what they were investigating? And everyone knows that the Clintons and their crooked redneck buddies in Arkansas at the Rose Law Firm, everyone knew that, as G. Gordon Liddy would say, I want to see them all. I want all of them to be perp-walked. Webster Hubel, Vincent Foster. And Liddy would read the list down of criminals at the Rose Law Firm. These people shouldn't be above reproach. Again, was former President Trump above the law? Remember, they kept telling us, no one's above the law. What is this, Maggie? Who killed people? Oh, Fauci killed people. Yeah, Fauci lied, people died. What about gruesome Gavin Newsom? This guy is on it seems to me, he is on a John Belushi heroin and cocaine high. Dude has all the time to wage war against the Trump administration and the president and the enforcement of actual laws in his state. No time whatsoever to actually run his state. By the way, did you see the story? I wasn't able to verify this, but I will just give you the Cliff Note version of what I saw on Twitter today from a reliable source. Somebody bought 9 properties on the ocean front in Malibu. A, quote, foreign investor, close quote. Supposedly, the actual retail price was $65 million. How much was that, U.S.? $65 million. Here, play Gruesome Newsom. Play. By the way, the redistricting in Texas is complete. GOP is going to pick up 4, or is it 5 seats? Going to pick up 5 seats. So if they pick up 5 seats and the Democrats lose 5, that is a net loss then of 10. That's a net gain basically of 10. Play number 9. Gruesome Gavin Newsom.
For folks listening, since 1989, the end of the Cold War, it's important to be reminded of this. Bill Clinton made this point at the DNC in his speech. 52 million American jobs have been created since the end of the Cold War. 3 Republican administrations, 3 Democratic administrations. 96% have been created under Democratic administrations. The last 3 Republican administrations have one thing in common: recessions. 1.9 million jobs created in the last 3 Republican administrations, over 16 million in the Biden administration, just as another proof point to the extent you needed it. But
okay, I don't even want to deal with this A-clown because he's such a liar and a manipulator of statistics. Kamala Harris ran on that exact same platform, Gavin. It didn't work, and it's not going to work this time. Do you know why? Because you and your Corona Doom 2.0, SARS-CoV-19, you and your buddies successfully, and all your Democrat governors and the Republican useful idiots that went along with it, you were successful in disemploying 12 to 15 million people because of the Corona Doom. When they were hired back, that does not count as a job created, doofus. You know, I get so. You want to know why we have to take days off in doing what we do? Because you hear stuff like this, and your mind has to process it, and you're sitting there and you're hearing it and going like, that's a lie. That's not true. It's not possibly true. The Biden regime created jobs. No, it didn't. The Biden regime savagely intentionally destroyed jobs. And any job that it may have, quote, created, close quote, you know who I went to? An illegal alien criminal trespasser. There's a story at Zero Hedge yesterday, or 2 days ago. U.S. manufacturing activity unexpectedly soars to highest since 2022. Okay, what was going on in 2022? Reployment. Not employment, not job creation, reployment. 1 month after unexpectedly sliding into contraction for the first time in 2025. Yeah, how silly this is. We measure things now. And then we had a day where less jobs were created. Really, dude? A day? The S&P manufacturing PMI even more unexpectedly soared from 49.8 to 53.3, whatever that means. Not only smashing expectations of another decline to 49.7 and printing well above the highest economic forecast, and in fact printing 7 sigma above the media estimate, whatever that means. So is the Trump recession here? We know some of us said you should expect a short-term recession. I like when in Magdalene Rose's economic report, which I sent, which I heard and I went, okay, Walmart said its earnings are down. Well, you know why Walmart's earnings are down? Because the tariffs are working. People are buying less Chinese stuff. That's one thing. For the consumer to decide, I don't want it, it's Chinese. That's one thing. For Walmart to say, well, wait a minute, you're trying to pass the tariff off on us. Well, maybe we just won't buy that third brand of Chinese-made garbage. You can keep it, Hong Kong. So to me, a company like Walmart, its earnings going down, that is a sign of progress. That's not a sign of retrenchment. That's a sign of progress. That is a sign that the crap that they have been buying from foreign manufacturers at the expense of Americans and American manufacturers, which now have to be repatriated, that the gig is up, the news is out. We finally found you. Here, play DeSantis on Newsom, number 12. Governor Ron DeSantis talking about, so he's asked the question, well, what about this gruesome Newsom guy? Is he really Superman? Is he really like coming to save the Democrat day? I don't think so.
He's working to deport illegals. He's working on peace agreements internationally. He's focused on cleaning up Washington, D.C., things that actually matter. What is Governor of California doing to help the people in Southern California rebuild? They're still on their backs. They haven't rebuilt Southern California after those fires. Wasn't he the guy that was supposed to end homelessness? Didn't he have a plan like 10 years ago he's going to do? And it's obviously been a total disaster. So he's ignoring the problems in his own state in favor of posturing on social media and trying to take cheap shots at the president. He thinks that's going to ingratiate him with some of the far left voters. Maybe it will, but it's certainly not advancing the ball for the people that he's supposed to lead and represent.
Well, you know, this is a standard Democrat fare, Governor. He doesn't care. The people in California have to vote Democrat. They don't have a choice. The state's blue. They're going to be blue. Someone like him doesn't have to deliver anything for them because it doesn't matter. But this is the difference, though, between political and practical. Gruesome Newsom is playing we still own the media. I'm just going to sit down on my little podcast here, and I'm going to blast it out that I'm the greatest thing to happen to the Democrat Party, and we're going to get Trump. Saying you're going to get Donnie is one thing. Fat Fonnie Willis said she was going to get Donnie. Maltetia James said she was going to get Donnie. And Fat Alvin Bragg said he was going to get Donnie. Joe Biden said he was going to get Donnie. His attack dog, deranged Jack Smith, said he was going to get Donnie. The list could go on and on and on. Leslie Stahl, who 60 Minutes thought she was going to get Donnie. The guy that interviewed Kamala Harris for 60 Minutes and then cut and doctored the tape thought they were going to get Donnie. Kamala Harris and her stooge commie pinko pig from Minnesota, Tim Walz, thought they were going to get Donnie. Funny thing, Donnie's still walking the streets. As a matter of fact, Donnie's like a Buford T. Pusser from Walking Tall. He's walking around with a baseball bat.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, hola, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no! Get your hands off of me! You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up! Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content. We hope to next time.
Hello Crusaders, I'm Magdalene Rose at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. This report is brought to you by Cooking with the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. Here's your In the Market report. The rotation trade continued yesterday, but faded as we moved through the session. At one point, the S&P 500 and mega cap growth were down -1%, but the S&P rallied to finish only 0.2% lower. The equal weight was marginally better. The FOMC minutes were released yesterday afternoon and lead towards somewhat hawkish, showing broad support for holding rates outside of the known dissensions from Waller and Bowman. However, the meeting happened right before the jobs report that had big negative revisions. The S&P 500 and equal weight are down 0.5%, but the Russell 2000 is trying to stay in the green. Healthcare is outperforming, continuing its relative strength this week. Energy is also higher. Consumer staples and discretionary are underperforming. Walmart is trading lower with mixed takeaways from earnings. Weekly claims continue to show a job market where layoffs are relatively low, but companies are not adding payroll. Treasuries have extended to the downside. In National Calendar Day news, today is National Bao Day. National Bao Day guarantees your taste buds will be shouting wow why because ancient Chinese gastronomic delicacies often cause ooh and ahs on food holidays. It's also National Never Been Better Day. If you've waited for Never Been Better Day to enjoy the unconditional love of your canine companion, today is the day. Our saint of the day, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
This is a pixel. Now, if you put a couple of million of these dudes together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 160 billion of them together, and you've got Nina Gaynor's A Garden for Mary children's book. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it'll burn teeny little holes in your kids' teeny little corneas. So is the pixel really their friend? That's right, Groot. No. But the Founders Trading Post is their friend. And we have actual books with actual kind of kid-smelly pages and pictures, because kids lack in pictures. Plus, our little bookstore has everything the kids' parents expect. Yep, we got the beast and butt rubs, but nope, there is no Helen Reddy played here.
Pick up a copy of Garden for Mary, plus dozens of other Catholic children's books titles at shop.mychurch.com. Only the Crusade Channel brings you the Saint of the Day read by actual nuns.
Really? Our sisters are actual sisters?
Yes, and you can catch their heavenly voices announcing the Saint of the Day on the Crusade Channel.
Oh, you boomers and your live broadcasts. I'm a busy girl. Sure, I'm very important only in my own mind, but can I get them as podcasts?
I'm not a boomer. And yes, all Saint of the Day recordings are available as mini podcasts on our app and at crusadechannel.com.
I see saintly binge listening in my future. I feel holier already.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music loud, women walk. I've been kicked around since I was born. I never tolerate, that's okay. And you may look the other way, but we can try to understand. And New York
Staying alive in too much heaven. My church show. So the greatest radio producer in the history of radio producers, Maggie O'Connell, does not like it when I dance. Now, I know I'm a white guy. I am completely and totally aware that I am white. I am no John Revolting.
That is not dancing by any stretch of the imagination.
You have your story and I have mine.
Staying alive.
Staying alive in too much heaven. No jive talking spoken here. See, you do the job of 6 producers. Yeah, we should talk about that more often. And we need more Founders Pass members, and we're working very hard on it. We never stop working on the website. We think that version 4.0 is killer, and a lot of you do too. And we think that the 2.0 app for the iPhone is amazing. I talked to the developer dude yesterday, and he assured me that he was going to knock it out today and get it uploaded, so it'll be available hopefully today in the Google Play store. I didn't know this. There were other Google stores out there, or stores that you can move Android apps through. Do you know that? There's more than one. Apple, they locked that down. You can only get it from one place. But if you're on an Android device or a Samsung, there are several other smaller outlets. You don't have to go through Google if you don't want to. But in any event, the app 2.0 should be available today. For all users, and that would mean iOS, iPad, which runs the iOS, and the Google Play or Android store. I think that Android actually has its own store, doesn't it? Pretty sure they do. And I think that play around with the app, and you'll see that it just works very well. The play bars work, the podcast work. If you're not a Founders Pass member, you're probably going to, and you haven't found out yet, one of the key takeaways would be, well, I turned on your app and all I get is some Daniel Penny replay. Well, that's because you're not logged in as a Founders Pass member. If you're getting Daniel Penny over and over, that's a clue. And there's a guy named Jim Mosier that comes on and goes, whoa, you're getting Daniel Penny over and over because you're not a Founders Pass member. Subscribe today for as little as $5 at crusadechannel.com/join. Let's switch gears here for just a moment.
They've been there a long time. They got there at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, they're still at John Bauman Bolton's house doing the search. It's like Jonathan Turley was saying. They go in there sometimes and they just tear the joint up. Let's switch gears for a moment. I thought when this happened, it sounded fishy to me.
You doing Elena?
Well, okay, let's do Elena Haba. And then we're going to talk about Hulk Hogan. And then we're going to talk about the 80s to finish the broadcast up.
Okay.
And I think Mitter Monday and I are doing a Free Farm Friday, too. So if you want to hang around for Free Farm Friday. Yeah, Maggie, I know it's been a long week.
Yes.
I did an album autopsy yesterday. We did a very long hour-and-a-half episode of Mom's Murders and Mysteries. We did an hour and 10 minutes Thursday night throwdown. Worked 12, 14 hours overtime on the new 2.0 app. Hope people will go and subscribe now or come back as subscribers at crusadechannel.com/join. Yes, long week, but I think lots of payoffs coming in the future. Meanwhile, this is what they did or what they're doing to sweet, lovely, and very committed Catholic and just all-around good citizen and good person, Elena Haba.
Sean, it's been real in New Jersey. I will tell you this. Number one, I was the nominee to become the U.S. Attorney. And Cory Booker and Andy Kim, who I have never to this day spoken to in my life, despite my attempts to meet them, have truly, truly done us a disservice. And frankly, same with Senator Grassley, by holding up a traditional blue slip, not a law, and not allowing a lot of the president's picks to go through and be voted on by Senate. I didn't even get to that point. Then fast forward, it goes to the judges. 17 federal judges in the state of New Jersey, 15 of which are Obama and Biden appointed, that just like, frankly, we saw with Tish James, tried to use their seat for political motivation. I am the pick of the president. I am the pick of Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, and I will serve this country like I have for the last several years in any capacity. You might try and change my title. You might try and fight me. But just like today with New York, we will win. We always do. It just takes time. But it's disturbing what we're seeing. It's not surprising, but it's disturbing. They think they have a voice for 5 minutes. They try and be activists. And Pam Bondi called it like it is. The Attorney General said it today. We will not fall to rogue judges. We will not fall to people trying to be political when they should just be doing their job, respecting the president. And you can't get rid of the president. Almost 100 million people voted for him, and he is still and will be forever the 45th and 47th president of the United States.
So let me tell you what's happening here with this. And this should be a lesson to members of the stupid party that approved all of Biden and Obama's selections to be U.S. attorneys. All of them. But the stupid party doesn't know how to play political Machiavellian games. The Democrats play Machiavelli every day, every nanosecond of every minute, of every second of every minute, of every hour of every day. The stupid party does not know how to play Machiavelli. Instead, they appoint and then they allow to be led men like John Thune and Zion King. The Zion King, Speaker Mike Johnson. So what she's talking about here is Trump went, okay, well, if they're not going to hear if they're going to put a hold on you as U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, when they go into recess, I'm going to make a recess appointment. Why is Senator 91-year-old Chuck Grassley making John Thune bang the gavel in every 3 days so that none of the recess appointments, including Elena Haba, can then be recess confirmed? And why has Cory Booker, Spartacus or whatever, the crying lion, why is the crying lion and is recently appointed to replace the criminal Menendez from New Jersey? Why are these two criminals, why are they holding up a U.S. attorney that is going to serve at the behest of the president of the United States? Trump's the president. He gets to pick his cabinet. It says advising consent of the Senate. It doesn't say anything about that consent being unanimous. It just says advising consent of the Senate. This is, again, one of these epics in history here. You know, we know the political game. We know if they can play it, they're going to play it here. But why is the stupid party playing into the hands of the party of Spartacus or whatever it is that Booker is crying about today? Furthermore, what is it in New Jersey that Elena Haba is going to find out and prosecute that Booker and Kim are being paid to stall? And why is Grassley going along with them? These are the questions. The fact that Elena Haba can't be bought. She's no interest in exchanging her honesty and her integrity for a paycheck. She's not a Democrat. She's not an on-the-take stupid party Republican. So what does that tell you about the state of affairs in the state of New Jersey and how bad it must really be? You know, they still have mobs. Tony Soprano was not a fiction character. Tony Soprano is based on a caricature of several mob figures that do exactly what the Sopranos did in New Jersey. What are the Chinese communists doing in New Jersey? If Elena Haba is not allowed to look behind the curtain, you may never find out. What are the other criminals, the oligarchs from Ukraine and other countries? What are they doing in New Jersey? Obviously, there's a cleanup effort there because Trump will get a U.S. attorney appointed, whether it's Elena Haba or not, in New Jersey. Let's just say he goes like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to appoint, there he is, Sleepy from the Seven Dwarfs. Sleepy, you're the new U.S. attorney nominee for New Jersey. And he's going to say, and then in a private meeting, he's like, Sleepy, you're not the actual AG. But what's going to happen is you're going to answer to me, okay? And I'm going to say, no, I've delegated the authority to, her name is Elena Haba. She's a great girl and a great American and a good attorney. That's what's going to happen. Pretty much what Judge Jeanine Pirro is probably working with Judge Martin now. The one that airhead nut job from North Carolina, Tillis, wouldn't let get confirmed. Fine. Judge Jeanine went, okay, fine. I'll go and be your guy. I will guarantee you she's working with the other dude. This is just... there are bodies buried there, obviously, and maybe they just need time to get rid of them. You know, a former senator from New Jersey, Bob Menendez, is in a federal jail because of the corruption in New Jersey. And by the by, he and all of the others, all the other usual suspects maintained Menendez is innocent. Okay. Now, two other reports here that I wish to talk about. In 2005, 1/3 of the brothers Gibb, collectively known as the Bee Gees, Morris Gibb, had an intestinal blockage. He collapsed. He was taken to a South Florida hospital. They discovered the blockage. They operated on him. They removed it, and they sewed him back up. And then they told the other two brothers, it happens often. It was a routine surgery. He's going to be fine. And 2 days later, he was dead. Morris was dead. There was a lawsuit. The Gibb family sued that hospital. I'm not sure what the end result of it was. I think there was a settlement out of court. But the Gibb family was told by the occupational therapist that was overseeing or knew Morris and was working on the case, they killed him. They made a mistake in surgery, and after the fact, it led to his death. Now, fast forward to 2 weeks ago when we lost our beloved Hulk Hogan. And we were told, no, he was in poor, failing health. No, he was going to die soon anyway. Was that true? Probably not.
Fox News Alert, new updates on the death of wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. TMZ is reporting Hogan may have been a victim of medical malpractice. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has more. Kevin.
Pretty crazy story, my friend. The Clearwater, Florida Police Department says tonight the investigation into Hulk Hogan's death is ongoing even now. And that's because Hogan may have been the victim of medical malpractice, which may have cost him his life, according to sources connected to the case. Law enforcement sources tonight tell TMZ that an occupational therapist was present at the wrestling legend's home in Florida when he stopped breathing. And according to a report, the therapist suggested in a recent operation, a surgeon may have severed Hogan's phrenic nerve, which controls the diaphragm, which is the primary muscle responsible for breathing. As of this hour, Hogan's body has not yet been cremated, and while his widow, Sky, says an autopsy has been conducted, we don't know what the findings were. In a statement, Clearwater Police tonight say the unique nature of this case has required us to interview multiple witnesses and seek medical records from a variety of providers. And our detectives continue to do that. All of this takes time.
It sounded suspicious to many people that knew the Hulkster. Wait a minute, no, dude, I just saw him 2 weeks ago. He was fine. No, he was having health problems. Well, he was 70-some-odd years old. Look, we get old, we have health problems.
I'm not that old yet, and I got health.
Maggie says, I'm not that old yet, I have health problems. Look, I'm not that old, Ed, and I have health problems. But you figure someone is as in shape, and as you know, your eyes tell you, oh, he's looking good for. What is he? He was 73. I want to say. It sounded like wait a minute. No. Hulk Hogan. 71. Hulk Hogan. Terry Correa. What? He dies in his sleep in a nursing home when he's 102. He doesn't go out with an occupational therapist at 71. Terry Jean. He said it at the RNC. My name is Terry Jean, and he gave his real name. In any event, Terry Jean Bollea. Thank you. A great American, a great guy, a childhood hero of Maggie O'Connell's and many other people that grew up under WrestleMania. And you know, it was fun. It was we had fun. Once upon a time as Americans, we had fun. So before I go to Magdalene, I want Magdalene Rose to hear this. Play the 80s are calling and they want you back. This video is, I'm assuming that these are AI-generated characters. If they are, I was looking for the deformities, and I didn't, but I didn't see it on a big screen. Because usually you can spot the deformities. You go like, okay, that's an AI. But the voiceover and the script were probably written by someone. I think that this is actually something that you could kind of sink your teeth into, and maybe that this is something that is actually afoot.
You know the 80s miss you, right?
Let me guess. No one even talks face to face anymore.
Here? We're out until the streetlights come on. You should stay. The world feels real here. We've got mixtapes, Friday night diners, cruising down Burnside in your friend's Camaro. What's 2025 got?
Yo, what are you even doing in 2025? Out there, it looks like everyone's glued to their phones, chasing nothing. No block parties, no Friday night hangouts.
Do you even remember what it's like to really be here? Out here, time doesn't race. It breathes. And if you've forgotten that, then maybe that's why the 80s are calling you back.
Yo, you coming or what?
You don't get it. The 80s wasn't just about neon lights or mixtapes. It was about being here, actually being with people. No screens in your face, no noise from the future. Just the moment. The 80s miss you. We all do. Maybe it's time you came back.
The 80s miss you. The 80s miss you. Maybe it's time you came back. And you couldn't see the video if you're listening to it on radio, but there were the 80s big hair, the Guess jeans, the Jordache jeans, the high socks from the Maniac movie, Flashdance, the Volkswagen Rabbit convertible. And I think, Magdalene Rose, that there is something to that. Does anyone in your generation meet at diners on Friday nights? Does anyone hop in the Volkswagen convertible and take a drive around the town? Does anyone have a block party anymore? When's the last time someone in this damn generation or in my generation made a mixtape or a mix CD for someone?
Well, I see that actually all over Twitter, and I think what's interesting is that the #1 shows for my age group, really across the board, they're either set in the 80s or 90s, or they're modern, but the focus of them isn't that they're modern. They just happen to be current, but they're about relationships and things. And we talked about my theory of whenever there's teen romance that's really centered around just normal couples or basic issues, then conservatives are in power. I think whenever there are shows that are centered in general around either families or relationships, that shows that people are unhappy in some ways in the current generation. The thing about 2025 and the 2020s is that we're not really working towards anything. There isn't a great bit of progress we're making. I think the AI people might say they are. But in general, we're really just trying to make things better that have previously been messed up. Every other generation really was working towards great things. This is a generation where we're scared of the future of technology.
Well, and I think also during the 80s, because what precedes the 80s? Obviously, the 70s. And the 70s, especially at the end of the 70s, was a decade of malaise. It was awful. It was terrible. As I've said before, the biggest event that happened in the year that was 1980 was the Lake Placid Olympics, where the American hockey team beat the Soviets and went on ultimately to win a gold medal. And it sounds like a bit of an anachronism, but you go back to and I was there. I was a young man in the 1980s, and I could personally bear witness to the fact that we didn't call them block parties, but we sure as hell had parties, and whoever was lucky enough or made enough money to have a small house or whatever, and maybe down the street there was someone else that had a small house. Well, you'd open the doors up and people had two places to park at, and you get together, and I can remember going... This is going to date me. I can remember going to a block party or a house party in like 1989, I want to say, and the big it was a Mardi Gras party, and the big conversation piece was Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms album was out. And this was the one after the Sultans of Swing, and we had these new things, Magdalene. They were so cool. We called them CDs. And you'd put the Brothers in Arms CD in the player, and you'd play that and whatever else. But the video is correct. There was physical interaction. Today, almost everything, and we did it last night on Thursday Night Throwdown, and I'm not saying that I'm knocking it, but it would be even greater to have a Thursday Night Throwdown at a round table where 6 actual guys were sitting around it and talking to each other. I mean, we did a facsimile of it digitally, but digital still doesn't replace analog. And so the fact that your generation is looking at, what is this show at? The Summer I Turned Pretty?
The Summer I Turned Pretty, yes.
So this is like the #1 show streaming on Amazon. I think it's number one. Maggie, is it number one still? What's that?
Yes. And really across platforms. Netflix is getting decimated by it.
And it's a cheeseball show. It's a reboot of 90210 is all it is, with different characters. And they're not in, 90210 does begin in 1990 or 91 or whatever it is. It does begin when they're in high school. It takes a couple seasons before they get out of high school and go to college. And I think that the people in the commercial are correct. We did everything face to face. There was also, just kind of American optimism as a result of the boom of the 80s and the Reagan years and the Rocky movies. And, you cruise into the 1992 Olympics, and the Iraq War is over. America, it was Operation Desert Storm. The American Army went over there and did that. The other, of course, we'd find out afterwards that they really didn't. But you would... in 1990, you'd have all these events that would happen that were like decidedly American, and you would get together over these things. Here, some of the great movies at the time. Maggie, your second favorite movie of all time, The Goonies. Yes. The Goonies comes out. What's The Goonies about? A band of little kids that goes on a treasure hunt. And, they don't want to lose mom's home because the evil banksters are coming to take it away. You got the correct bad guys, the evil banksters, the BlackRock of their day. You had the Fratelli brothers, led by Ma Fratelli, who is played by the 80s and 90s character actor, Anne, what's her name? Anne Ramsey, I want to say. You had all this stuff that was going on, but we got together, Magdalene, and we talked about it. We didn't do it over the internet.
No, and what's interesting is that the younger people who are sort of in more of the 80s mindset, so I don't know if you know, but Jake Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi's son, he married Millie Bobby Brown, who's the star of Stranger Things, which is set in the 80s, and still one of the biggest shows ever, and the final season is coming out. So there are...
Hey, can I stop you right 21. There real quick? I want to just jump in, because all the millennia Biden wokesters went after her because Millie said that she didn't care about being in TV anymore. She just wanted to be a wife and a mother.
Yes, and they've adopted a baby girl. So, like, they've taken it to an even higher level, and they announced it yesterday. And there were photographs of them, like, walking, I think, just out and about with their stroller. And people are really, like, disgusted that this 21-year-old, I think he's 21 or a little older than her, are pursuing this and already have a baby and everything. And, yes, of course, getting a baby through adoption when they're financially wealthy is much easier. But they're disgusted that they wanted it. And I think it shows how out of touch the left is in general to not understand that if someone gets married at 20, are you really surprised they had a baby by some means at 21? Really?
That's a great point. I would also like to point out yesterday, and I pointed this out on my Twitter, and I actually got a few very positive responses that I was not expecting. I don't know how many people will remember this, but in the tweet that I did, I said that I remembered it. Here it is. I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to tell you who it was. Marriage is not a contract, she wrote. It's a covenant. Ours is a covenant with God. We made a promise not only to each other, we made a promise to God. He equips us to love each other on unlovable days. He helps us see each other through his eyes. By the way, she has to be a Catholic. That's no way this is Protestant. When we get out of the way and let him take over, he guides us to treat each other in truth and love. Life is hard and beautiful. As we individually grow closer to him, and she uses capitalizations with the H's appropriately, we grow closer to each other. Happy anniversary to my most amazing husband. After 37 years of this adventure of life, with all the ups and downs, joys and sorrows, I love you far more today than when we were married. Thank you for loving me, our children and grandchildren. Thank you for having the wisdom to seek the Lord and the courage to keep your eyes on him and not the wind and the waves. Your boat is a powerful testimony of his perfect love for you. He walks on what we fear. Here's to never letting circumstances define or destroy us. Here's to always giving thanks to God and keeping him in first position. Here's to seeking his wisdom for every decision, big and small. With us at each other's side, here is to the most beautiful future. I love you. Now, can anyone in the chat room guess who is the author? 53-4 Truck saw it, so he knows. That is Kathy Ireland. Now, Magdalene, you won't know this, and Maggie probably won't know this, but Kathy Ireland rocketed to fame in 1987 because she was the cover model on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, 25th anniversary. And there was a big hoop-de-doo. There were, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember having a crush on Kathy Ireland. What average American white red-blooded male did not have a crush on Kathy Ireland? And Kathy Ireland went on to be in several movies. She was in a Loaded Gun or some movie with Emilio Estevez, and she was the number one model. I think she was one of the most sought-after models in the world. But she was always very soft-spoken. She had a kind of little squeaky voice like this. And she was in a couple of films. But who knew that she would ultimately marry this guy and would give it all up just to become a wife and a mom? And I retweeted this yesterday, and I had several people reach out to me, go like, dude, I had no idea. Thank you. What a beautiful testament to marriage and to family. She was an icon of that decade we're talking about, the 1980s. Who is the Kathy Ireland today? I don't know. Is it Sydney Sweeney? I don't know. Who is it?
I don't think it's Sydney Sweeney yet, but I think that there's a couple of them, and I think especially now, because if you think back to about 5 years ago when a lot of our current Hollywood stars were coming up, if you were not woke, you were not going to get hired for anything. You were not going to get booked. So I think we have a generation right now of people that are either so terrified of saying the wrong thing that they just don't talk, or they're all hard leftists. Now, the sort of next generation of young people in Hollywood and TV, they're not under that as much. There isn't this red hotness against people. I mean, if you think back to 2018, there are people who were fired from TV shows and movies for liking a tweet by a low-level Republican politician on Twitter. I mean, that was what we were living in. That's not really the case anymore. Now it's kind of like, well, if you hate us, you hate us. And I think that the Trump 2024 election was big for that. Having someone like Jason Aldean, for example, a completely commercially viable, still performing, still making records country star out there with Trump would never have happened the first time around. And I think that's the difference now. So we might get those icons this time for young people who are who are 16 or 20 or that range. We wouldn't have gotten them last time. Everyone we got in the last generation were like woke, crazy people or just terrified.
As I say, Trump makes everything better because he does. He shows up yesterday at the basically the kind of the armory or the deployment warehouse or whatever you want, or deployment locker or office where the cops and the National Guardsmen are meeting to go out and enforce the law in D.C. And he gives them a little pep talk, and then he takes the microphone and he does his stand-up comedy routine. And then, Maggie, here, for the edification of everyone, here's what I'm talking about. You didn't play number 4 yet. This is Trump talking about bringing pizza to the... And he does these things like this, and they seem, kind of kitschy and cliched and silly at the time. But he's just being Trump. He likes going to McDonald's. He likes going to Pizza Hut and feeding people.
And I think you brought some food for him, didn't you, President?
So we have great hamburgers cooked by the White House, and we have pizza that I said don't do it in the White House because we went to a place that makes the best pizza. So we'll concede, but we have a lot of it. So we're going to have some fun. We'll eat, and I'll eat with you, and we're going to have a little fun. We're going to celebrate, but then we're going to get back to work, and we're going to take care of these criminals. We're going to put them where they have to be. You're going to say, don't play around with us. Don't play around with us. So let's go have something to eat. You're going to like the hamburgers? Would you rather have hamburgers from the White House or pizzas from a good place, huh? I think you want, they want the hamburgers. Have a good time, everybody. Thank you very much.
Magdalene, who does this? The President of the United States. He sounds like he's the leader of the cleanup crew at the Hyatt Regency.
Well, this is because we've been so starved for humanity amongst our politicians, and he's so humanity-filled. Like, he is just who he is. So it plays really well. People always talked about how, down with people Obama was and how he understood people. I never felt that he understood anyone. I thought he was an elitist. I thought he very much did not like talking to common people at all. And I think that he had a resentment towards having to continuously interact with people he thought he had risen above. And for Trump, he is such the opposite. He has the type of money Obama always wanted. He has the type of prestige. And he will have McDonald's and KFC. And people laughed at that in 2016. They thought it was ridiculous. But it mattered when you're looking at the class divide and Donald Trump is sitting there going, well, on my private airplane, I get a Big Mac or I get a bucket of chicken. People want to be able to have something those people have who are living like that. Trump made that very easy. If you admire Trump, you can think to yourself, well, I'm having the same lunch he would, or that he might be right now. That's incredibly powerful. Someone like Bill Clinton in the 90s when he was first running, he understood that. Hillary Clinton never did, but Bill Clinton did.
And Republicans, to their eternal shame, mocked Clinton because he went on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and played the saxophone. And he was just being Bubba. We mocked Bubba. Mocked Bubba all them years. I confess I mocked Bubba. Of course, Clinton also was a pretty sinister character behind the scenes, so he deserved it. But when he went and played the saxophone on Jay Leno, this was a cultural, an iconic cultural moment. He had the Ray-Ban sunglasses on, and I'm sure one of the producers backstage said, "Oh, Mr. President, it'd be really cool if you put the Ray-Bans on." And so, he kind of cheerfully went out and did it. I don't think we should have poo-pooed that. And I also think that with Trump, how many young men are out there that are watching this guy going like, I want to grow up. And what do you want to be when you grow up, little Johnny? Oh, I want to be President Trump. I want to be Trump. That kid that I've interviewed twice now, Taylor Sharp, who says he's running for president in 2048. That's a 16-year-old I want to be Trump. There's a perfect example right there. I can give you one right there. So I don't think that this stuff is innocuous. I think one of the things that a leader has to do is lead and lead by example. And, for all of the campaign promises he hasn't kept, or for whatever else the faults are, and the relationship with Israelis and the war in Gaza and all the other things, there are a lot of things that he has and they have gotten right, and that are on full display here. Maybe, since he likes meeting people in person, maybe people start having parties again. Actually, hey, why don't we get together and do X?
Yeah. And I think that that's sort of the world Trump would like to live in. Trump doesn't really love the modern era. He loves parts of it. He loves technology, loves all of that. But if you think about how he speaks to people and how he speaks about his children, he was always horrified by the idea that anyone would do drugs or have alcohol or get tattoos or do any of those things, to the point where the media on its worst, most vicious day would never accuse Trump of being an alcoholic. They would never accuse Trump of those things. They're very true for him. And he comes from a very old school mindset. I mean, people even laugh at him for loving the royal family in England and for always talking about his relationship with the Queen. But those kinds of things can be very wholesome. He grew up in an era of dignity and quietness, and he talks about how his mother was a major influence in that. So I think that for Trump in general, he loves the modern era for what it can do and for the kind of impact he can have, particularly Twitter. He's talked about that. But in terms of decency and politeness, I think that he's a much more old-school person than people think. And people loving him and liking him shows that that's what people are craving on some level.
Well, I think that all that's true. Our political affairs contributor, Magdalene Rose, we're having a little Friday throwdown here. A very interested crowd, Magdalene, in the chat room. We're up to 71 chatters on a Friday. What is going on? People having great conversations about the things that they were about the 80s, like Crocodile Dundee. At the end of the day, what did Crocodile Dundee do, Maggie? He saved the blonde girl from the guy that was going to knife her on the train. Because he went like, that's not a knife. That's a knife. He pulls the knife out. But people had the emulation for people like Crocodile Dundee. Let's look at who the movie stars of the day were. The action movie comes around and is basically minted in the mid 1980s, and of course Arnold Schwarzenegger is the biggest star in the world. And then you have this string of movies in there. You have Predator, you have Commando, you have I'm trying to think of all the films that Schwarzenegger is in. And he is a big burly guy. When Cigar Aficionado goes to put Schwarzenegger on the cover in 1991, one of the things that they play up about Schwarzenegger is that he is the world's largest fan of the Hummer. He has a pair of Hummers. He doesn't drive in a limo. He drives a Hummer around Beverly Hills. That's right, Josh K., the Running Man. And we had these great movies that were great comedies. Maggie, one of your favorite films, Home Alone. That's a John Hughes movie. All of these things were, it's not to say that this is... someone earlier, some curmudgeon in the chat room, who I shall not mention, was poo-pooing, you can't go backwards, we're not going back. No one is saying that you're going back to the 80s. This is not Michael J. Fox and Back to the Future. I'm perfectly comfortable in the year that we're in, 2025. But I think that we can make 2025 a lot like the 1980s. I think that is the point.
Well, I think we are in some ways. I mean, if you look at what's predominant in music and in film and TV right now, those sort of just social justice songs where everybody could win if they sang about police hurting people that in minority communities, that was the thing for a while. From 2018 on or 2017 on, that was what was going on. And I think the left burned out its own supporters. You can't exist in constant misery, but also constant political involvement, and think that people aren't going to get burned out. At some point, people just want to watch a nice movie and have a snack. And this is something the left rejects. They say that you can be in a constant state of revolution, that you can fight to free Palestine and to be an economic liberal and all these things. And I think people get into a space of not wanting to deal with it anymore. And the exit polling when Trump Trump for the 2024 election was very interesting because people listed their issues, but they also listed political burnout as a major influence in who they were voting for. And if you're politically burned out, were you really voting for Kamala Harris? Did you think that you'd be less politically involved or be less focused on things? No. You voted for Trump because a lot of people just want to put America kind of like on autopilot and let the dude run it. And that's something Democrats never want to accept.
Well, and you know, at the end of the 1980s, the Democrat Party had had enough of the joy of the Reagan years. So we had to find a controversy, and so they manufactured around Contra. Now, it is true that the president did some things that he probably maybe should have, with the advice that the Senate had done, and maybe the Senate would have gone along with it, but he went and did it anyway. Was it the end of the world? No. What was the end result of Iran-Contra? It was to stop the spread of communism in Nicaragua. That was the part of the purpose of it was communism in our hemisphere. So the Democratic Party does what it did, does what it does. It made misery. It gave us a political scandal, a controversy, and nothing ever became of it. I think one person was fired as a result of it, and Oliver North may have been demoted or whatever, but nothing ever became of it. This is what the Democrats are trying to do right now. They are trying to rain on the American comeback parade. They don't want it to happen. And they would, I mean, when I say they don't want it to happen, they're now manufacturing this clown in California, Gavin Newsom. They're actually AI animating this guy as actual Superman. Have you seen this?
I have seen it. And I think it's interesting that someone who couldn't do proper forest protection to avoid wildfires, when Trump warned him, gave him the experts and increased his budget back when Trump was president the first time, is expected to be Superman for the nation. Gavin Newsom is a nobody. And, like, people don't want to say this, and I've said this to other Republicans, and they're like, what do you mean he's a nobody? Like, politically, he's a nobody. He's never won a competitive race. He has high unfavorables with white men across the board, one of the strongest voting blocs in America because of the high turnout of them. He's a nobody politically. He is somebody who's there because of nepotism with Nancy Pelosi. And I think that there is an idea that he's much more than he is, but this shows the despotism of Democrats. Because if they had anybody more viable than Gavin Newsom, we would know about them. I think Democrats are sort of waiting to see what happens with New York as Mamandi, how he governs, whether or not he's going to be a massive political force. Because AOC is a massive political force, and that hurt Democrats hard. But if you really look at Gavin Newsom, I watched that debate with him and DeSantis. I was not amazed by Gavin Newsom. I don't think he's anybody. I think he's a political nobody.
Well, you're also going to find out that the only way strong-arm socialism works is with a strong arm. And it only works for the people all the way at the very top. No one that's below the top 4 or 5% doesn't work for anyone below the 5% line. Might not work for anyone below the 1% line. That will be a one term of absolute abject misery unless they take over the completely take over the voting apparatus in the city and just rig it so that he gets a second or a third term or whatever. The proof will be in how many people and businesses actually flee Manhattan Island to get out and get away from the evil that is going to be Mamdani. You can't rule. Look, this is 2025. There have been 150 years of attempts at socialism. You know how many success stories there are? 0.0. But if we're going to keep this democracy thing alive, apparently we have to go give it the old college try again. So if those morons, if you're stupid enough to do that in New York City, baby, then you get to marry it. I told my daughter, I'm like, that apartment that you guys are buying as a wedding, to move into after your wedding in New York, you better plan to rent it, and you better rent it now. If you don't rent it now, Mamdani is going to slaughter you because he's going to rent control you. She goes, what's he going to do? Is he going to hold the price? I said, he'll probably force you to lower it. You'll lose money, and then you will have no interest in maintaining that place whatsoever. Oh, hey, Trump is speaking, Magdalene. Hold on.
Foreign Minister Lavrov said no meeting is planned right now between Putin and Zelensky. Absent that meeting, what are the next steps in your view?
Well, we'll see. We're going to see if Putin and Zelensky will be working together. You know, that's like oil and vinegar a little bit. They don't get along too well. For obvious reasons, but we'll see. And then we'll see whether or not I would have to be there. I'd rather not. I'd rather have them have a meeting and see how they can do. But in the meantime, they continue to fight and they continue to kill people, which is very stupid. because they're losing 7,000 people now. I used to tell you 5, now they're losing 7,000 people a day. 7,000 people a week. They're losing, think of that, they're losing 7,000 people on average a week, mostly soldiers. So we want to see if we can stop it. I've stopped 7 wars. I'd like to make this one I thought would have been in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty, and it's turning out to be the most difficult.
With the launching of the White House TikTok account, are you no longer concerned about privacy concerns or national security problems?
I'm really not. I think it's highly overrated. So TikTok, as you know, I used TikTok in the campaign. Some young guy named TikTok Jack. Then I won the young people by 36 points. No Republican ever wins the young people, and I won it by a lot. And I'm a fan of TikTok. My kids like TikTok. Young people love TikTok. If we can keep it going, good. And we're going to watch the security concerns. And we have buyers, American buyers. We have American buyers. And I haven't spoken to President Xi about it. At the right time when we're set, I'll do it. In the meantime, until the complexity of things work out, we just extend a little bit longer. But we have buyers. We have very substantial American buyers that want to buy it.
President Trump, would you like Congress to give you more control over D.C. when they return from recess?
By the way, the hat he's wearing is Trump was right about everything.
A miracle what's happened. I mean, they can come up with fake numbers like the mayor is doing. Oh, no, it was going down for 20 years. You didn't live here. You know, have you been mugged? Okay. D.C. was a hellhole, and now it's safe. And in fact, I put out this morning, I said, I hate to say this because it doesn't sound very good, but there have been no murders in D.C. in the last week. That's the first time in anybody's memory that you haven't had a murder in a week. And I think the mayor has to get on the ball because we have a situation, and she's a nice woman, but I'll tell you what, she's got to get on the ball. We have, I don't want to see phony numbers. D.C. hit an all-time high last year of absolute total crime. And it continued pretty bad. And then we put some strength into it, got the numbers down a little bit, but we brought in the D.C. National Guard, and we coupled them with the police, and it has been amazing. I have friends that live here, people that work in the White House, but I have friends that live here. They're all going out to dinner now. They haven't gone out in years. One man, I told this story yesterday when we were with the police and with the National Guard. We had a great little celebration, brought them hamburgers, brought them pizza, but we were with them, and I told the story about one friend hasn't been out in 4 years to a restaurant, and now he's been out 4 nights in a row. He called me this morning, by the way. He said it's so safe. He feels like totally safe. He can walk. He's got a 10-block walk. He walks it. He wouldn't have walked those 10 blocks. He said it would be a chain of hell, he called it. He said it was just horrible. He had no chance of making it to the 10th block. And the mayor has to admit that. You can't say it was just like it hasn't been clean. Now it's going to be clean. I'm giving out a contract very soon. Susie's with me. We're going to be raising about $2 billion from Congress, and Congress is happy to do it. And we're going to wisely spend the money. We're doing it with Clark Construction. We're going to head out right from the Capitol and the White House, and if you look at a circle and go about 3 miles out, it's going to be beautiful. All those light poles, see the poles, they're rusting, and they got different lenses on top, if you look. I mean, just looking at so many different problems. And we're going to have this place beautified within a period of 12 months. The streets are going to be retopped, not ripped up and rebuilt, and they're no good after they rebuild them because they start settling. We're going to take off the asphalt and put beautiful, well-done asphalt. You know, if you have a good asphalt worker, it's the greatest thing you can have, but there aren't too many of them. But I know all the good contractors. So this place will be beautified within a period of months. So it'll be safe and beautified. And then the big question is, how long do we stay? Because if we stay, we want to make sure it doesn't come back. So we have to take care of these criminals and get them out of here. We've collected hundreds of career criminals. These are career criminals. You're not going to teach them to be nice. These are probably born that way. I don't know. But they're career criminals. They're very, very dangerous people. They would love to be with you for a little while. They'd slap you around. But I put my money on this guy. He'd take them. Right? He'd take them down so quickly. He said.
Is he talking to Hexes? Who's he talking to?
No, people don't want to do that. And we're taking
We have over 1,000 arrests.
President Trump live. Not sure exactly where he is, but he is in Mordor on the Potomac here on the Crusade Channel.
Everybody out, and you have a great capital. But people are so happy, and I don't know where they get the polls. I see polls that they're 90% in favor of what I'm doing, and then you turn to CNN, which is fake news and nobody watches it, or MSDNC, they changed, MSNBC, they changed their name now because they were so bad. But they're the worst, owned by Comcast, run by a guy named Brian Roberts, who doesn't have a clue. He's terrible, terrible manager. But they're not, I don't think, selling it. They're changing the name because they're ashamed of it, and they're disassociating it from NBC, which is also fake news. You know, they should be ashamed of that too. But a lot of fake news. I think the news is getting better. They're learning that they have no credibility. ABC, CBS was just sold to a great person that I know very well. A great man. He actually just bought CBS, and I think he's going to do the right thing with it. NBC is run terribly.
Trump makes everything better.
I call it Concast because it's a whole con. And
Concast.
You're going to see some things happening. I think you're going to see some just amazing things happening. But to me, D.C. is very exciting. And a lot of people say, well, where's he going from there? Well, I have calls from politicians begging me to go to Chicago, begging me to go to New York, begging me to go to Los Angeles. And if we didn't go to Los Angeles with Newsom, they run it so badly, I don't think we would have been able to have the Olympics. They would have ripped down that city. We went there and it stopped day one. And the chief of police in Los Angeles, when they asked him the question, he said, thank God they came, because we could not have handled what was happening. We went in, we stopped it, and that was it. So they needed help. They don't like to say it. I wish they'd say, I need help. I wish the mayor of D.C. would say, you know, we're overridden with crime and we need help, instead of saying the stats are down. I mean, they're under investigation now for fake numbers, where they fudged their numbers. And they did, there's no question about it. They said, oh, we're on a downtrend for 20 years. No, they're on an uptrend for 20 years. We are going to make D.C. totally safe. When people come from Iowa, Indiana, all of the beautiful places, and they're not going to go home in a body bag. They're not going home in a coffin. And it's very safe right now. There's been no murders since I started. And, you know, it's a terrible thing to say. Who would think that you have to say that there have been no murders? It's terrible. I wrote it this morning. I said, it's hard to say this, but it's actually good news, but it's a hell of a thing to say. There have been no murders in the last week. And nobody can remember the last time that this happened. And there won't be murders because all the thugs are hiding, or they're being sent back to their countries, or they're in jail. And it'll only get better. But we're also doing the beautification, and I just wanted to see the store because they have done a fantastic job. It's memorabilia, it's beautiful books and beautiful everything. It's really, I think the fake news ought to go in and buy some stuff and make happy. I'd pay it, but then you say I'm trying to pay you off, so I don't want to do it. I'd pay the price, but if I did that, Margot, they'd say, he's trying to pay us off, and with the fake news, we can't be bought off. So anyway, so I just want to thank you all. We're going now, and I don't know if you're following. Are you following? We'll have a stop at the really beautiful, what will be beautiful right now.
He's at the People's House exhibit across the street from the White House.
They built these cubes outside, these cubes. And there's stairways that go down to little rooms.
He's with a woman that he keeps referring to her. It's Margot
hundreds of
Martin.
millions of dollars. It's like throwing money out the window. They built cubes. All it does is block off the view. So I'm either going to use those cubes as a platform. You know, they go down to little stages, but nobody uses it. And we're taking care of our big, beautiful stages that people really want. And we have artists from all over the world wanting to come. I think we're signing the World Cup. The World Cup's going to have its primary office in the Kennedy Center. And again, I want to thank our board of the Kennedy Center. They have been absolutely incredible. But you may get a chance to see what we're going to do a little bit. I'll show you beautiful slabs of marble that, for the sake of cleaning and grouting, would look like they got put in yesterday by a top marble smith. So I want to thank you all, and I'll see you in 15 minutes, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
And there's... Magdalene, there's something that you probably just caught it. I hope everyone just caught it. I'm going to take you in here and I'm going to show you a beautiful marble slab that would have been installed yesterday had it not been Well, they needed to clean it, and then they'll install it, and they'll put it up, they'll clean it, and they'll grout it, and then they'll clean it. He knows the process of how the marble is installed.
Yes, he does. And I think he sounds particularly happy. And one thing I caught was that he had said that he thought that the Russia-Ukraine war would be one of the easiest to stop. And he's found that it's one of the most difficult. I don't think that's because of Putin. And Putin is not like a great guy in this regard. But if you think about who's been the problem here, who's been switching up their position, who tells the BBC one thing and our Secretary of State and Vice President another thing, that's J.D. Vance. And I think overall, if Trump was dealing with a sane person in Ukraine, then we wouldn't be dealing with this war as long. I think also Trump has a frustration because if he isn't there during that meeting, Zelensky's just going to lie.
So, wait, are you're saying the problem is Vance or Zelensky?
No, the problem is Zelensky.
Okay, that's what I thought. No, the problem is Zelensky. He absolutely is the problem. No doubt. He's going to run out of people. The only way, everyone knows how to make this end tomorrow morning. Now, they're probably telling him, the neocons that are still in at the ready room or whatever, are probably telling him, Mr. President, if you withdraw support of this, then this many more Ukrainians are going to die. And he's probably going, I can't let that happen. We have to give them the javelins or whatever, give it to them. So he is being told, basically, that if you don't continue this support, then Ukrainian boys die. He could, and maybe he's done this, and maybe Zelensky and the oligarchs rebuffed him. Maybe he said something to the effect of, I'm going to give you, this is it. You have 6 days. You got 5 days. You either make an appointment with Putin and you sit down and you make a deal and you bring this darn thing to an end. And if you don't, well, then I am going to pull 100% all material support and you're on your own. And if you go crying to your buddies in NATO, I'm going to pull funding to NATO too. Look, if you want to go hardcore and bring this to an end, you're the president of the United States. You have to do that. I think that his position, if I just heard him clearly, is that he wants those two to work it out. And as you just said, I don't think that Zelensky is capable of working this out.
No, he's not. He is somebody who is very attached to fame. And, Trump being Trump, I don't think Trump minds that. He doesn't mind people wanting a legacy or to be remembered. But Zelensky is detrimental to peace efforts. And that interview Marco Rubio has done and subsequent ones after that, where he explains that Zelensky simply does not tell the truth or the same story to anybody, it's very frustrating. I think that the blow up in the White House probably made very much sense to European leaders as well. I mean, to me, the biggest takeaway is if you have to bring half of Europe's leaders to go talk to Donald Trump, are you really saying that you're confident in your own abilities?
No, and he brought the European leaders as backup to tell Trump, no, Mr. President, you have to stay the course. To me, that's why they were there. I don't know why still there is not a political and a revolutionary revolt among the people in Ukraine. We all know how this ends. I could write you the ending today, tell you exactly what's going to, not maybe exactly, but pretty much what's going to happen. And that is the Russians are going to be victorious. They're going to, those areas that are in question are going to become part of the Russian Federation permanently again. Ukraine is going to lose that territory. It's not going to be called Ukraine any longer. And if they want to use the warm water part at Sevastopol, then they're going to have to go through the Russian Federation. So you might as well make a peace deal. So Ukraine also needs that warm water port. Are the Russians going to deny them access to it? They didn't before. So why would they do so now? But that's how this is. That's the end. That is the end. You can just write a script for it right now. That's the end. Why the EU? I guess they are that desperate for American cash to continue flowing through whatever means of money laundering that they are getting it. That this is the amount of body bags just doesn't matter. And I think all of these people that continue, even Giorgia Maloney, who I like, who continue to shill for this. Note who wasn't there, Magdalene. The one voice.
Orban?
That's right. The one voice that we know that is going like, I am not giving NATO a cent. And I am not participating in anything that exacerbates or continues this war. And he's the only one that was not at that meeting, is Viktor Orban of Hungary. Is there a reason why? Yes, because the Hungarians are sane.
Yes, they are. And the Hungarians also know that Russia's a bigger country, and they're going to take Ukraine. I mean, this entire thing is ridiculous. Should Putin have done this? Absolutely not. Is it a bad move for Putin? Does it hurt his legacy? Has it eviscerated Russia in many ways? Yes, all of that is true. It doesn't also mean he's going to lose. And I think that Zelensky is somebody who is so arrogant and thinks that because the United States did the forever wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, that we'll do a forever war here. I think that's really, if you boiled it down, if you asked him privately and he was honest, he would say, well, they funded those wars forever and they had to be in them. They'll do mine forever. And that is because of the dangerous neocon policies that gave the world the impression that we would do that. And that's something Trump's not going to do. Vance isn't going to do it. And even if there was a Democrat in office, they wouldn't do it. If Bernie Sanders is president, Ukraine would have less support than they do now.
I think that also, somebody pointing this out in the chat room, maybe the president of Poland wasn't there either?
I'm not sure.
I don't keep up. I know they just had an election. The Poles have been in opposition to this thing from the beginning, because the Ukrainians that are fleeing war in Ukraine are fleeing to where? Primarily Poland. And we were doing stories a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we were talking about the Poles going like, stop this because we're not taking in any more Ukrainian refugees. You need to stop it. So I don't know that the leader from Poland, you know who else may not have been there? Belarus. Oh, okay, the leader from Poland wasn't there. I bet the leader from Belarus wasn't there either, because the Belarusians are like, no, you need to stop this. And the Belarusians don't want anything to do with this anyway, or either. All right. So, okay, we were being told that Poland was not there. And of course, the media present all the leaders of the EU. No, not all of them. So you had the Hungarians missing, the Slovakians, and then the Poles not there. Those are your three countries that, of course, Poland, an ancient Catholic country, it's not acting like it's Catholic anymore, but it still is. Hungary, under the guise of a constitution that recognizes God as the supreme ruler of all man's affairs, and their new constitution in 2012, and then led by Viktor Orban, and then the Slovakians. No, Melania is from Slovenia. Right? She's not Slovakia, Slovenia.
Yeah, Slovenia.
I wager also now. Belarus is not I don't think Belarus is a NATO country, but the Belarusians are also on the side, pretty much, of the Russians. So. No, it wasn't complete. It needs to come to an end. We'll see what happens. I guess they were supposed to talk today, Putin and Zelensky. Is that what the deal was?
Yes.
Interesting that, we'll keep an eye on it. All right, Magdalene, great call today. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Monday.
Thank you.
Folks, it is about wrapped up. I thought we were going to do a free Farm Friday, but we only have a few minutes left before the end of the program. And Brian Kay could not be with us to do today's. So I'm going to make sure that we have a free Farm Friday guest for next week and Midter Monday, and hopefully a Midter Coke. I do know this. I can relay this free Farm Friday fun fact to you. It is, and I need to do this weekend myself. If you're going to grow fall vegetables, they need to be started by now. Should have already started them. But no, you still have a little bit of time, depending on how far south you are. I'm going to be doing lots of lettuces. I'm going to fill 3 beds up with lettuce, and we're going to be lettuce central here. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll try a squash. We never have any success with them, but we'll try it. So I do know that it is fall crop planting season. Again, depending on how far south you are, you may be at the end of it. So, hey, thanks for a great week. Folks, download the new Crusade Channel app 2.0 and the iOS store. As soon as it's available in the Android store, it will be out. I will email everyone. There will be an email, a massive email going out to everyone, alerting them that both the apps are now available and you can download them in either of the store. Please consider shopping in the Founders Trading Post store, shop.mikechurch.com, shop.mikechurch.com. Your donations are always welcome. Donate, crusadechannel.com/donate, crusadechannel.com/donate. If you're listening and you're on a preview and you're not a Founders Pass member, you need to stop that and you need to join. Please do it today. Or if you are a member, consider updating your credit card and maybe even an upgrade to current billing or an upgrade to a membership level. Go to crusadechannel.com/join. Thanks to all of you for listening and watching. It was a great week this week. If any news breaks out today, we will break in. And don't forget, today, Pope Leo XIV is also called today a day of prayer and fasting for peace on the feast of Our Lady's Immaculate Heart. And to keep that in mind and can continue if you are fasting and your prayers. And we are praying for peace, especially for the people of Gaza, for the people in Russia, and the people of the Ukraine. We'll see you Monday. God bless you and Mary keep you. Keep it tuned here to the Crusade Channel. Hey, brand new album Autopsy tonight at 7. CrusadeChannel.com.